What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubae here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Today I decided to throw together a compilation of all the Karen stories that I've covered so far this year here on Scrubae, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I'm gonna be back to posting here in the next couple weeks, so I figured I would make a few of these. So yeah, without further ado, enjoy.
That the pizza says ready on my pizza tracker. So if it doesn't come out to my car in 2 minutes, I get a free pizza.
I've never seen someone use like the pizza tracker as a scientific rule for what's actually going on before. The pizza says ready on my pizza tracker. Okay, did you ever think about the fact that maybe the employees are just pressing a button? They don't actually put a microchip into the pizza to track the pizza state, Karen. It's very possible that they clicked ready and it's like 2 seconds away from being ready. Alright, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I'm bringing back the Karen's Gone Nuclear series. I don't know how regularly it will be back, but I felt like making one, so this is what it is. But if you guys want more of them, like, comment, all that good stuff. And without further ado, let's get into some Karen's freaking out.
And we're asking you to please call corporate because we are extremely busy and we have no control over that.
You guys stopped the timer saying that you brought it to me already when you didn't.
Wait, you're telling me even the store doesn't have control over it? So like, what is it even tracking, dude? I understand the Karen's frustration if it's like, it says it's delivered and it never came to the house or it never was brought out to the car. Okay, that's annoying. But this person's calmly explaining to you that they just have no control over it at all, just loudly screaming even louder with like increasing decibels that they need to give you your pizza or give you a free pizza when they just don't have any pizza makes no sense. If your one pizza isn't ready, you're gonna be waiting quite a bit longer for the second free pizza.
We have to hit the timer before we leave the store. So what happens is when
it took you 2 additional minutes to get out to my car after you hit the timer?
Wait, all of this is the pizza being literally 2 minutes late? Are you kidding me? The time the pizza was delivered to my car and the time that is frozen in-app in the screenshot I have here is clearly a 2-minute differential, so therefore I deserve a free pizza. Imagine being this entitled, bro. That makes literally no sense. Yes, it's very possible that from the second it left the oven to the time it was boxed up and in your hands, 2 minutes went by. That's like not even a lot of time. You would think she'd been waiting 24 hours by the way she's freaking out right now.
Have your sides and stuff or to check that we have everything.
That's not how it works.
Yes, that is exactly how it works.
Tracker, that's not how it works.
Bro, why is she acting like the pizza tracker is just some like scientific tool that could never be 2 minutes wrong? It's just a Domino's pizza tracker. According to studies by multiple scientists, the pizza tracker is actually a very scientific way of knowing when your pizza is ready. Oh my goodness, man. Like, ugh. You don't even work there. How would you know how the pizza tracker works better than the people that work with it every day, bro? That's not how it works. Oh, cool. Did you sit through orientation too? I didn't see you there.
This is going to continue. We don't have time for this. We're going to walk away and continue making pizzas, please. So please call corporate.
You know the employees know they're 100% right if they're like, please call corporate. Normally, if someone says they're going to call corporate, you're like, ah, crap, fine. But nah, you have to have the utmost confidence to be like, yeah, you go ahead and call corporate and complain about what you're complaining about and see what they tell you. I also love the shock on her face when they're like, all right, go ahead and call corporate. You know, wait, what? You're not going to give me the free pizza? Like, no, I've got to go make pizzas for people that are paying. Thank you for buying the one, but no, that doesn't automatically justify you to a free second one. This isn't a buy one, get one free offer, dude. This isn't a sale at Macy's. It's pizza.
Oh, then why can you guys do it then?
This is hers.
All right, I'm going to reserve judgment. I don't really know who's right or wrong in the situation yet, but I will say, so far the person recording is down. Not because I think they're wrong, but they're walking into a 2v1 situation here. They're about to be the middle of an ice cream sandwich of Karen's. So if they battle themselves out of this position, it's going to be an impressive comeback, maybe up there with the Patriots coming back against the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. Never forget, they blew a 28-3 lead.
Yeah, and this is ours. So what's your point? What's your point?
Somebody parked over there. She parked
You guys park all day there.
there. What are you talking about?
I just feel like, you know, not getting along with your neighbors is one of the most unfortunate things ever because you really can't escape them. I also love the magic reveal of a third person on their side, so we're in a 3v1. It seems like, yeah, they're probably just a little bit angry that you took what they take as their parking spot. Let us park in your driveway. Do you not understand? Okay, we park in your driveway, and then you never get to park in it because it's ours now, right?
This is my driveway. I park
back where the parking is.
Right. Then why don't you go back there and park there too? This is my side of the property. I don't have to move anywhere.
All right, so if I'm following correctly, they're allowed to park in front of the house on their part of the driveway, but you have to park in the back with the parking because you're not allowed to park in where your driveway is. I'm not understanding why they think that makes literally any sense, but that's what they're saying. I just have to double check because I can't believe that they're passionately arguing while being just like so wrong, you know? If they had like one leg to stand on, maybe it makes sense. But even then, there's 3 of you screaming at one person. There's 3 brains that should have realized this was stupid and none of you guys figured it out.
Come on out.
Yeah, the cop is coming out.
Yeah,
Go.
Tell you to move your car.
Yeah, they're going to tell you to move your car.
This is her driveway.
This is our driveway.
All right, even if the cop is coming out, if you're wrong, then they're also wrong. I just don't understand why they're escalating this situation so much. Just like go back inside and wait until the person moves their car. Is it that difficult, bro? Like, I really don't know what to tell you about this situation other than the cops are gonna come out and tell both of you to move your car or tell both of you you don't have to move your car. But either way, both of you are having the same result, dude. I don't blame the lady for calling because, you know, the 3 of them are just gonna sit out here and scream at her. But like under their logic, they're also doing something wrong.
Or to convince these people why you need to be booted out. I'm going to show them all the legal records. I'm going to show them how poorly you are as the president.
So apparently she's mad because this dude's the HOA president. You know, the way she's screaming, you think he was the actual president. I think this is the definition of having way too much time on your hands, you know? Listen, I understand a bad HOA president would be annoying, but is it ever annoying to the point to where, like, you need to block them from going upstairs and scream at them about how you will get them evicted and show how bad they are at president? It's just the HOA, Karen. Everything's going to be okay.
Now, if you do not let me get that water turned off in 24 hours, I am going to court as an emergency shutoff against you, and I am going to personally take out some very, very serious violations against you.
I don't think this Karen understands how threat works. Because she just said, if you don't turn off your water, then I will file a thing to turn off your water. So either way, he's getting his water turned off. I don't understand why he would A, do that, because it's his water, and B, either way, dude, obviously I'm going to make you go pay a lawyer and do it the legal way if you're going to turn it off either way. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, okay, you go get a lawyer. Good luck turning off my water. I also feel like threatening someone to shut off their water is just like a weirdly cruel thing to do, you know? That's the equivalent of like, honestly, I don't think there could really be an equivalent to taking someone's water away now that I think about it. That's how weird it is. Like, it's a very old-fashioned threat, like very medieval of you. Probably were alive back then though.
And I already know the board, and I already know you cannot afford that. Now, I am saying to you one more time, yes or no. Are you going to give them a 24-hour notice? I have already gone to Catherine's boss.
Bro, why do you have to yell everything? I mean, I talk loud, don't get it twisted, but there's a difference between talking loud and yelling, and she is just yelling everything. Like, my goodness, doesn't that ever get old, ever? I know the board, I know Catherine, I know Catherine's boss. Okay, well then you don't need me to do anything. Like, if you got it all lined up so well, then you go ahead and take care of it. I don't know why you gotta get me involved. Oh wait, even though you know the board and everyone, you still need me to do it, so no.
And they are already checking you out in violation. I own that unit. Do you see my face? I have already said to you multiple times, you're a bully.
course.
You're a bully.
Of course.
I
we
have
work
all.
with you.
There's something so funny about giving someone like an insanely harsh ultimatum while screaming in their face the entire time and blocking them from going up the stairs and threatening to turn off their water and then calling them a bully. Like, there's something great about that. Yes, he is the bully, bro. I don't even know what the situation is, but I don't feel like he's even gotten a word out. I don't know how he could be bullying you. The way that your beagle sits on the stairs is dramatically intimidating to me, and I will no longer be bullied, so I will be shutting off your water and evicting you, making you lose your job, and then, to further embarrass you, I will take out a billboard on the busiest freeway that tells everyone that you poop your pants. But he's a bully, okay.
Please step out of
I'm
my
asking
way.
you now so I can have it on there. Are you going to give them a 24-hour
Of course.
notice? Of
The rule
course.
is
You cost them
48.
money
No,
because
I
you're a
didn't.
bully.
Please.
All you want to do is win.
She's been practicing this after like every movie she's ever seen where someone gives an inspiring speech, bro. Like, this is just so I'm the main character. You're a bully, and I'm not gonna let you bully anymore. And you cost them money. And to top that off, I don't like bullies. Like, okay, bro, this is starting to sound like a monologue on like Jimmy Fallon or something. We get it. I still don't understand how you're not equally bullying him back by shutting off the water.
I'll
but
have an
I
attorney
gave you
till the
your
cows
answer.
come home. I'll pay and pay and pay. I'd mortgage my house if I have to go up beside of you. You will never win.
I really don't know what this dude did, but this speech is like, oh my goodness, man. Is this an anime? Like, am I watching an anime? I will hire every lawyer. I will mortgage my home. Nay, I will train in law myself in order to defeat you. I will never let giants as you bully me any longer. If you claim to have the power that you do, well then be prepared for a fight, because my power level will be increasing every day from wenchforth.
And get these customers away.
Ladies, he doesn't have $1 to buy a gift box. That's why we're complaining. That's why
Really?
he's
That's
being
it?
to the manager.
See, I think this behavior is actually the best approach, right? Darren here. I'm not paying this $1 for the gift box. So I think it's his wife starts screaming it out instead. I think if we just started yelling about what Karens are actually complaining about, they'd be a lot more embarrassed to complain about it. Like, imagine you hear someone yelling at some worker because like they're out of PlayStation 5s and you're like, hey everybody, this guy's complaining because the thing that's always out of stock is out of stock. And he's complaining to somebody that has no control over it. What an idiot. All right, this next one's a news article, but I still think it's crazy. It's about a Karen that ended up taking about $33 million out of the PPP program. For those of you that don't know what it is, at the start of the pandemic, when everything locked down, the government passed this thing to like give money to small businesses so they didn't have to fire everyone. And I guess this lady decided that she was just going to take out a bunch of loans for fake companies that added up to $33 million. Pretty large Karen move, maybe the alpha Karen move. Oklahoma woman pleads guilty in $32 million from COVID relief fraud. The scheme involved more than 150 fraudulent applications from the Paycheck Protection Program, which Congress passed to help businesses survive the pandemic. I just love how she submitted 150 fraudulent applications. You know, like one fraudulent application is already illegal, already kind of weird if you think about it, like you're taking money from a small business. But 150 of them means that this lady had to have become basically a professional at doing these things, bro. She's like, listen, you're gonna own a trucking company, okay? It doesn't matter if you haven't, all right? It doesn't matter at all. Let's get out there and apply for these loans, baby. Let's go. An Oklahoma woman who was part of a scheme to scam more than $32 million from a COVID relief fund designed to keep businesses afloat pled guilty Wednesday, federal prosecutors said. Amanda J. Gloria pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bank fraud and money laundering, the Justice Department said in a statement. All right, obviously stealing $32 million is a metric crap ton of money, but when you guys start looking into like the actual loans and the fact that, you know, a lot of these were just so blatantly fraudulent, it makes it way less of a criminal genius and more of a like, let's take advantage of this program that isn't really double checking right now because it's a pandemic. I mean, seriously, obviously, eventually the government was going to start checking a lot of these businesses. And, you know, if you got $2 million in loans for a company that hadn't been active since 2017, What do you know it? They might be a little bit suspicious of why you suddenly needed $1 million in loans. She was charged in June with helping a New York man get a loan for close to $1 million from the PPP using faked payroll and other documents. She also submitted and got around $420,000 from the PPP program using a trucking business that she owned but hadn't been active since 2017, according to the Justice Department and court documents associated with the $1 million case. Listen, obviously defrauding the government is just always bad. You should never do it. That being said, if you're gonna take on the United States federal government, you'd think you would try to cover your tracks a little bit better than this. Obviously, alarm bells were gonna start flashing when $1 million is given out, or 420,000, excuse me, to a company that hasn't been active for 3 years when all this went down. Nah, they're not gonna check into it. And then they look into you and see that you've been on the paperwork or involved with 150 claims? Yeah, man, obviously they're gonna start literally looking at everything you've ever done. I just don't understand, one, why you would want to steal from the government. It's just a risky game. They're probably gonna catch you. Two, from a program designed for emergencies. And on top of it, just be so dumb about it, It's not even a good Hollywood movie, because it's not even, a good story. It's just oh yeah, we took advantage of a really easy time to get the PPP loan. The Justice Department said Gloria admitted Wednesday that she conspired to submit at least 153 fraudulent applications on behalf of 111 entities from May to June of 2020 to 2021. The entities unlawfully got around $32.5 million in PPP funds, and she got $1.7 million, and the Justice Department said in a statement that she admitted that she faked and helped falsify information in the claims and then submitted it herself or assisted. Gloria's attorney didn't immediately respond to a request from comment Wednesday night. Alright, so you're already submitting loans for 111 entities, they're probably gonna start looking into that, obviously. But then on top of it, dude, all the fake documents, I'm pretty sure each fake document technically could be a fraud charge. There'd be a lot of fraud charges, but I think providing fake documents is a crime. Taking the money's definitely a crime. Trying to launder the money is for sure a crime. Getting it to your bank when, the company that you got the loan for doesn't really exist, I think is wire fraud. You were just racking them up, man. It was felonies on sale. Overall, I would just not recommend stealing millions of dollars. Don't steal any amount of money, it's just wrong. But especially if you're gonna steal millions and millions of dollars, don't do it from the federal government in a way that's really obvious and easy to figure out. All they had to do is take one look at the documents provided and be like, oh yeah, none of these are real. And on top of it, it's just $33 million that didn't actually go to businesses that needed it. 3 weeks before my wedding, my mother begged me to reschedule it to meet her schedule, and I did, causing us some extra expense and my out-of-town friends some issues. After all that drama, the day of my wedding finally came, and you know what? My mother didn't bother to show up anyways. Your mom not coming to your wedding is already brutal enough. I feel like that was one of those days where you just really want your parents there unless they exponentially suck, which it seems yours does, so maybe it's a good thing she wasn't there. But it's even more messed up if you demand they change the schedule, right? I already would feel insanely bad asking anyone to move their wedding to accompany my schedule. I feel like their wedding should be completely on their terms. But if you're gonna demand someone reschedule the wedding, the least you can do is show up. On the bright side, now you know that you should never invite her to anything ever again, because she's probably not gonna go. She's willing to miss your wedding. What's grandkids' soccer games, I feel like you gotta go above and beyond, and every one of your anniversaries, send her a box of your feces. Don't do that. That's gross. It just was stupid sounding. It was Friday, the night before the wedding, and me and the whole wedding party took 8 hours to set everything up. My soon-to-be sister-in-law had spent hours weaving flowers into 3 structures that were to be behind where we got married. My mom walked in and said to me in front of everyone that it looks really tacky with 3 and that I should take 2 away. And I told her it's my wedding, it's not tacky, I want it that way and I like it. Did she just forget that it's not her wedding, Even if you think someone's decorations are ugly, just keep your mouth shut because it really has nothing to do with you. It's not your wedding. But on top of that, you should have smacked her back and been like, the only tacky thing here is you, What is that outfit you got on? Looking like a whole clearance section at Kohl's. Come on, get with the program and dress better. It's a wedding. I don't know what she was wearing at all, but I'm just saying that would have hurt the feelings equally as much as her calling your decorations tacky. I don't know if this is just like not a good thing, but I always just thought you told people on their wedding that everything looked great, even if it was ugly. A lot of people, oh my god, that's so fake. No, it's just being nice, dude. At my eventual wedding, alright, everybody there better just say it's the best wedding they've ever been to. I know they're lying, okay, but stroke my ego, it's my wedding day. My mom then called me a bunch of names and stormed out of the church. About 40 minutes later, the pastor of the church came to find me and said I needed to contain my mother because she was going from vendor to vendor bashing me. That's not something a bride wants to hear the night before her wedding, and after the wedding, I had a friend who could not stay for the reception and told me she was leaving early prior. When we walked into the reception, my mom barged through the door yelling, "Took you long enough to take pictures. Your guests are so bored they're leaving." Then during the reception, she was yelling at the caterer because there wasn't butter on the tables and she couldn't handle all the attention on me and it almost made her head blow up. All because you didn't want to get rid of decorations that you liked at your wedding? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go around to everyone helping set up this event and try to sabotage it. That'll make my daughter do what I ask. No, it's just gonna make you look like a psycho. Also, man, once again, even if the wedding hypothetically is boring enough for people to be leaving, why would you scream that at the bride and groom? Oh, you guys suck. Everyone's leaving. First of all, you don't know why they left. Second of all, bruh, it's my wedding. Why are you trying to tear me down? I don't understand why parents will do this stuff, dude. Like, you probably shouldn't have had the whole kid thing. If you're literally so selfish that the attention being on your kid during their wedding day makes you this insecure. No, everyone, look at me. Please, please. I thrive off your attention. That's what this reeks of, all right? Desperation. My mom had something to say about every part of the wedding. She pretty much made it her own wedding 4.0 because she's been married 3 times, and to some degree I let her because it was easier than fighting. These are the things she did. She tried to bribe us into eloping because, and I quote, "I don't want to deal with the drama of you getting married." She offered to buy my dream dress and then ordered it several sizes too small so I would lose weight, and I lost 50 pounds but could never fit into it. I ended up buying a different dress off the clearance rack a week before the wedding, and then she canceled my order for invitations and then ordered individual stationery that she liked instead. Alright, it's already nuts to be like ordering a dress for somebody that's not their size to quote unquote motivate them to lose weight. I just feel like that wouldn't be very effective, and that's rude. Listen, man, I make reaction videos where I make fun of people, but goodness gracious, buying your kid a dress 2 sizes too small so that way they lose weight? And how small was this? You lost 50 pounds and still couldn't fit in it? What was this, a dress for ants? My goodness gracious. And listen, I'm not trying to be mean, okay? But if you've had 3 weddings, you should really be keeping your mouth shut on your opinion on anyone else's, because clearly you're not too great at the marriage thing, and on top of it, you've had 3 go-arounds to decorate however you want. At this point, your opinion means about as much to me as like whatever's at the bottom of the trash can, not a whole lot. If you were good at the marriage thing, maybe it would be different. As if that wasn't enough, she talked to the stylist, which was her friend, into doing her hair first. Therefore, my hair wasn't finished in time and we ended up doing a modified version, which I hated. She bought me a necklace for the wedding and then demanded it back after the reception as she felt it would look better on her. The piece de resistance was when she demanded that I pay every cent back when the marriage fell apart. Man, you would think somebody that's been married and divorced 3 times would understand that, like, you know, it's really rough when a marriage falls apart and not the time to demand all the money for the wedding back, especially when you offered to pay for it. It's not like it came with the condition. You didn't sign a contract. If this marriage falls apart, I expect my money back in full. At least I hope there was no contract like that, because that's brutal. I also love how your hair wasn't done for your wedding and you hired her friends. Like, dude, what are you gonna pay for? The wedding that you didn't want, that your mom picked out everything for and then ruined? Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. I have a narcissist for a mom, and she wanted to wear a white gown to my wedding. She never got married and said it was the least I could do to help her feel important, but she left the ceremony and missed pictures. At the reception, we had a buffet, and she had to be waited on by me. She refused food that I didn't bring her myself, and she cornered me and demanded I make her coffee right now. She started bad-mouthing my in-laws for not approaching her when they knew about her and knew she was crazy. They avoided her, and I don't blame them, so she bad-mouthed them loudly and eventually walked off with a bottle of bubbly gifted to us by friends and left hours early. She didn't speak to me for 3 weeks, and when she did, she demanded an apology for ruining her wedding and demanded this for many months and hung up on me when I refused. Ah, yes, the classic, I was a guest at your wedding, but when I do something ridiculous, I'm gonna say you ruined my wedding trick. I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen it before, but it's insanely stupid, so I can't help but think it has to have been a strategy of some kind, because there's no way she came up with that all on her own. If she did, then my goodness, strategy is not your strong suit. You might want to stay away from making choices. I also don't understand starting beef with your new in-laws, like before the wedding's even over. She's just really trying to make sure that everyone in the family tree badmouths her as much as humanly possible. Florida woman accused of crashing into multiple cars and throwing fake snakes to evade traffic stop. Listen, I don't think anyone likes being pulled over, you know, no one wants a ticket. That being said, it's definitely easier to just take the speeding ticket than it is to go on a chase where you're gonna crash into multiple cars. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be an expensive fix and your insurance company's not gonna be thrilled about that one. Yeah, I'd like to make a claim. I was evading police and ended up crashing into 9 cars. Can you guys cover that, please? I can't afford it. Seriously though, I love the fake snake edition. What, did she think that the police that were following her at this point and had just watched her crash into multiple vehicles would be like, oh my gosh, she threw a snake from the car. We have to call off the entire pursuit. Just let her go. Let her go. She has snakes. I'm not messing with that one. She's just basing all of this off Indiana Jones, you know? He's really afraid of snakes, and I'm pretty sure all cops like Indiana Jones, so therefore cops should also be afraid of snakes. She also just had it ready on the passenger seat, like she's always cruising, no matter what. Whether she's going 12 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour, fake snake is ready to go just in case she has to take evasive maneuvers and get someone off her tail. How often is she being followed to the point where she's like throwing fake snakes at people? Every time her family has made fun of her for keeping the fake snake, she threw it at the cops. She's like, that'll teach my family to make fun of me, and ended up saving me in this scenario. The only problem is, in her mind, getting saved is still getting arrested, because obviously the cops didn't cancel the search after the fake snake was thrown. In Martin County, Florida, a woman was arrested after crashing into multiple vehicles and throwing a fake snake at deputies in an attempt to flee a traffic stop in Martin County Wednesday afternoon, deputies said. Of course it was Florida. What is going on in the water in Florida? I mean, seriously, every time I find one of these stories where someone just does something unhinged, it always happens to be in Florida. I'm not even looking for it, dude. It just is what it is. Something about Florida is a real-life Grand Theft Auto server. Everyone's just doing what they want. I'm gonna throw a snake at the deputies to try to get them off my trail. Something about having Disney World that close to them in the state just makes them feel like no rules apply. It's just constantly a vacation. Disneyland, where your dreams come true. My dream is evading officers. Well, Walt was a fan of making dreams come true, so why not? YOLO, Disney supports you in evading the officer. I just feel like she definitely didn't think this through, because, as I said, it was just a traffic stop. I don't know if she had something in the car or whatever, but I'm assuming a traffic stop usually doesn't end in as much trouble as she's going to be in now. I mean, maybe you get a ticket, maybe whatever, the vehicle gets impounded because the taillights are out. That sucks, absolutely. But you're gonna spend way more time in the courthouse now that you've like went on the run, hit multiple cars. She ended up actually hitting one of the sheriff's cars too, so that's not very swag. She was just on a rampage, and you'd think if you're gonna go on a rampage like that, you'd be in a monster truck or something, but no, she's really just vibing, going crazy in like a Prius. Listen, I think no matter what car you're in, it would be ridiculous to go on a high-speed chase, start smacking into cars. It's just stupid no matter what you're driving. But it's especially stupid if you're like, you know, not thinking any of this through, smacking into cars in your tiny little sedan. Not only wrecking their cars, but totaling yours in the process. It just makes even less sense. You know, the guy who was originally pulling her over was probably so confused. He's like, ma'am, I was just pulling over to tell you that your back left tire looked a little bit flat. Why did you go on a high-speed chase? I'm really not understanding. It's his first day on the job. From then on, he's just like insanely paranoid when pulling over people named Karen. Don LaShawn LaPrade. who's 54, faces multiple charges with additional charges possible, including 4 counts of aggravated assault on a police officer and fleeing and eluding. According to investigators, the chase began when the suspect intentionally hit one of the sheriff's office vehicles as she tried to evade a traffic stop. Alright, evading a traffic stop isn't very well thought out, but it's especially dumb if you're gonna hit the cop car while you're trying to flee. I mean, come on. They're gonna be basically calling everyone in the county to come get you after that one. Automatic upgrade to 3 stars. If you rob the convenience store, you just get 2. You hit the cop car, you're going up to 3. 3 stars they're not gonna give up on as easily. I'm just saying, since she seems to be wanting to live life like it's Grand Theft Auto, I'll break it down. I also think that's arguably one of the worst names you could possibly have. Don LaShawn LaPrade. Don LaShawn? I mean, at least it's not Karen. I guess I'll give it that. You know, that would have been really funny if the person behind this was actually named Karen, but I feel like that's a pretty out there name. But hey, I call myself Scrubae, so I guess I can't really talk about people's nickname choices now, can I? Like I said, I would never encourage anyone running from the cops, but I guess if she started by hitting a cop car, it makes sense why at that point she was just smacking into any car that got in her way. Well, whatever, I already hit a cop car. It's not like hitting some random person's SUV is gonna get me in more trouble. I mean, sure, it's just tacking on charges, but you're definitely getting in trouble for smacking the cop car at that point. Might as well live out your Monster Jam fantasies, pretend you're Gravedigger, and start running things over. I just would really love to know what made her think that running was a good idea, man. Like, I've just never understood that. All right, they've got the dash cam, they have your license plate, they have the car, they've probably started talking to you. Now's the time to run. When they already know who you are, like, it's just such a dumb idea. Especially if you're gonna start smacking into their cars. Whatever, the odds of running away from the cops in a car, I'm sure are pretty low. But they're especially low if you're gonna smack into the car. If they didn't give up after you hit them with your car, what made her think that the fake snake was the good addition too? Alright, I've literally tried to run them off the road. I've ran them with a vehicle. I know, the fake snake trick. That one always works. She fled deputies, reaching speeds of up to 100 miles per hour, hitting another patrol car and a civilian truck, injuring 3 people inside before ending up on Warefield Boulevard, a Facebook post from the sheriff's office reads. While driving, she motioned to the deputies she had a weapon and drove erratically, trying to cause them to crash, the post said. When deputies approached the suspect, she threw a fake snake at them, the post continues. I hope everybody in the truck makes a safe recovery. I think that would be insanely horrifying. You're just like driving on your way to the grocery store and some crazy lady, Don LaShawn, just starts smacking into you while driving. She was definitely putting the pedal to the metal too, had a little Lightning McQueen moment, reaching speeds up to 100 miles per hour. Oh, I'm gonna lose the cops. Nah, I think at that point they're probably calling in the helicopters. I don't know if they actually did, but I feel like after you start hitting multiple cop cars, you're just ramming into cars in traffic, you're going 100 miles per hour. They can't let you go. Like, at that point, you're just straight up a menace to society. You're being too dangerous, allegedly. Still not really understanding the fake snake thing, though. Alright, they've got me cornered. They finally spun me out. I've smacked into multiple vehicles, gone over 100 miles per hour, caused chaos in the city. I know. Go get him, Peter. That's the name of her fake snake for the purpose of the video. The only problem is it's rubber, so she threw it out. It just kind of laid on the floor. Peter, get him. Get him, Peter. And it's just like rubber snake, so no response whatsoever. I would love to know what everybody on the street she got arrested on was thinking. Like, if it was a commercial street, there's all these little tiny boutique shops, some dude who just sells antiques. Looking out the window, yep, another day in Florida, as the lady's like arrested in the middle of the road. Car all battered up. The only thing she's yelling is, I wish I had another rubber snake to throw. Yep, I love selling antiques in this city. Sure never gets old. The one thing I will say is I'm sure living in Florida is entertaining, just like the local news. The local news in Florida is basically just a commentary video. A man arrested in a Waffle House for pulling out his own waffle iron and trying to make his own waffles. And when the chef told him to stop, he proceeded to throw the waffle iron at him. Like, just the most absurd stuff on a daily basis from Hank with Channel 7 News. 4 people were transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries following the crashes, deputies said, and according to the sheriff's office, the deputies hit by the women were not injured. LaPrade was booked into jail and is being held on a $90,000 bond. All right, I'm very glad nobody got hurt. Seriously, obviously people are in the hospital, but if for being hit from a car going potentially up to 100 miles per hour, no life-threatening injuries is a good thing. I hope everybody makes a speedy recovery. And I know $90,000 is a lot of money. I'm not trying to say that that's like a tiny sum. I'm not trying to say that $90K is easy to come by. That being said, I would have expected the bail to be a little bit higher just considering what has gone down. She goes on a high-speed chase, crashes into multiple cars, hits a couple of the sheriff's cars, sends people to the hospital, and she's only got a $90,000 bail. I know I say only. Like I said, that is a large amount of money, but my goodness, you think they'd up that a little bit. Or just suspend the license. Not that she really cares too much about traffic laws in the first place, it looks like, but still. Last thing you want is for her to bail herself out of jail, get in the car, and start driving home. Overall, I guess what's wild about this to me is that it was just a normal day up until Karen decided to start living that GTA lifestyle. Gotta be careful in Florida. You never know when a crazy person's just gonna start swerving in the road. Like I said, I'm glad everyone's okay. I just thought that this particular story you guys might find a little bit funny, entertaining. We need to start getting those defensive driving classes out there. The anti-Karen driving class where you learn how to handle situations like this. Police, driver trying to flee gets stuck in wet concrete. Alright, I know I probably am not qualified to speak on this because I've never been in a high-speed chase with the police officers, but that being said, I feel like the one thing you've got to remember if you're in a high-speed chase is to look out for things that'll make your car crash. I mean, seriously, how hard are you focused on the rear view mirror to not see all the construction barrels you just plowed through in the wet cement? This is the universe's way of telling you you're not going to get away with it. You start to go on the run, all of a sudden your car's tires are just full of cement. That'll definitely put a damper on the whole running from the law thing. I also feel like this is how you increase your ticket and get arrested instead. Like, I don't really know what they would have done. She was just yelling from a bullhorn, maybe a ticket for disrupting the public disorderly conduct or something. The second you try to run from them, alright, now you're evading police, and on top of that, I'm sure they're gonna find a way to make you pay for all the damages. Concrete ain't cheap. Labor's not cheap. You're gonna make them work a lot longer on this road to fix what you just did. Low-key, all the construction workers were probably hyped. They're like, hey, it's gonna be a slow day now. In Rochester, Minnesota, a woman is facing charges and a construction project has been delayed after she tried to escape from the police but got stuck in wet concrete instead. No wonder road construction is always so behind budget. You're trying to build a road, next thing you know, someone's parked in the middle of it, you gotta redo all the cement. The company that got the contract to make this road isn't complaining. They're like, sweet, 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 they're gonna have to pay us to do it again, even more money. No wonder everything comes in over budget, my goodness. Seriously, I'm glad all the construction workers are okay, though. The last thing we need is an action movie scene with this car like barreling through all the construction workers as they dodge out of the way. The sound effects are really bad, though. Whoa, look out, man! As they're like dodging 20 feet before the car. I would too. I'm just calling out action movies for being corny. The cops must have been confused too. In my 15 years in law enforcement, I tell you what, I've never seen the road open up and swallow a car before. Listen, it's not like the road really wanted to get involved, okay? It's just having a bad day. Whoever drove on it was getting stuck, chased by a cop or not. It had decided it was making someone's insurance rates go up. It just happened to be someone running from the law. The workers, oh no, man, someone crashed into our wet cement. Dang it. Guys, we're gonna have to pack up a few hours early and we're still gonna have to get paid for the full day because it was an uncontrollable incident. This is just the worst. I wish this didn't happen. I hate having to go home early and get paid for work. Ooh. Officers with the Rochester Police Department were first called to the scene because a 53-year-old woman was using a bullhorn to yell at people from her car. You know, just a typical Sunday activity. You're ever bored, go ahead, grab the blowhorn, go to the busiest intersection in your town and just start screaming at people. I would love to know what she was yelling. I'm assuming it was just unhinged, but like, what if she was actually kind of funny? I doubt it, alright? Just stick with me here. We're in fantasy land. This is not reality. She just starts roasting people, but she's really good at it. Next thing you know, she gets a contract to start doing stand-up comedy. In all seriousness, though, this would be insanely annoying. You're just trying to sit on the patio of the McDonald's and enjoy your McDouble. This lady's just with her bullhorn screaming at you for eating a cow or whatever. Thanks, vegan teacher. This is what she's getting up to now these days. Oh my goodness. I just don't understand what drives a person to just run out with a bullhorn and start screaming, you know? I just feel like that's one of those things I don't want to do. Attention from a bunch of strangers in public? No, thank you. I don't want a bunch of eyeballs looking at me. She gets on the bullhorn and just starts listing like a bunch of complaints from her life. Chapter 2. I don't like the way that my boss structures our workday. Why is our lunch at 10 a.m.? It's too early for me to be hungry from breakfast, but you know, it's not late enough for me to actually be sustained through the rest of the day, so I get hungry again at 1. Her boss hears it and calls the cops. I will not deal with this slander. When an officer activated the cruiser's lights and sirens, the woman apparently yelled into the bullhorn, "Oh look, I'm getting pulled over." Amanda Grayson, who handles crime prevention and communication for the department, told the Post-Bulletin. So she was just basically doing real-life commentary. The reason the cops got called wasn't because she insulted her boss, it's because she walked into Walmart with the bullhorn and just started insulting everyone you see. "Hey dude, what's up with the glasses? Harry Potter called, he needs his spectacles back. My goodness, your hairline is so far receded it looks like the Red Sea when Moses parted it. Jeez, lady, what are you wearing? Your outfit looks straight out of 1985. Hello, officer, you hurt my feelings." Anyways, obviously, once she announced that she was getting pulled over, she wasn't gonna go politely, alright? That would just be too simple. Why take a simple ticket for just yelling too loud in a public space when you can turn it into a chase and cause a bunch of damages to construction instead? This is the definition of the meme, you know, where the kid's riding the bike and he jams the stick in the spokes. Sure, you could have had a nice bike ride, or you could have caused yourself to crash and you chose crash. You can't be mad when you crash. No, officer, you don't understand. I wasn't running. I've just always wanted to crash my car into wet cement to see what it feels like. And let me tell you, it does not feel very good. Grayson told the Post-Bulletin that the driver then cut off oncoming traffic and tried to speed away, but drove into wet concrete instead. Photos from KTTC shows the car's wheels covered in concrete after driving 150 feet through barricades into the construction zone. Alright, so she had 150 feet of barriers to decide this wasn't going to be a very good idea and still ended up going through with it. I don't know what to do in that situation other than just shrug my shoulders and go, Imagine how confusing that was for her in her mind. She's got like the Baby Driver music playing. I'm about to go on the coolest high-speed chase of all time. I'm about to drift my car. And I'm stuck. Like seriously, she thought driving through the construction zone was some type of Grand Theft Auto online magic maneuver to make the police forget their location. I don't know what's up with it. I just feel like there's been a lot of stories this week where people just assume that the police are gonna watch them drive 10 feet away and be like, "Ah, man, that's too far. I'm not driving over there." Like, I mean, I would go arrest them, sure. But, nah. I just don't understand the need to run in this situation, too, because I don't think the cops can really do that much about screaming out of your bullhorn other than tell you to stop. If you keep doing it or you're saying offensive things, maybe there's something they could do, but other than just giving you a ticket, like, there wasn't really anything they were gonna be able to do about this. You could have just taken the ticket and been on your way. You really could have. Karen's got a Karen, I guess, you know? Oh, why take the easy way out when I can make it way more complicated? Do you think when the police started talking to her, she pulled out the "may I speak to your manager" line? Ma'am, I am the manager. I don't care. Get your manager's manager. The project's contractor reported $30,000 to $40,000 in damages from the accident. Rochester Police Department Captain Casey Moylanen told the Post-Bulletin that this was not the first interaction officers have had with the driver, saying that officers had stopped an earlier pursuit with her an hour prior to the arrest, and told the outlet the department has responded to at least 9 incidents involving the woman, including complaints about her driving and using a bullhorn to yell at people. Oh, so this is just a lady that likes to live on the wild side, the dangerous side, if you will. Her favorite song is Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone, baby. I feel like it's not a good thing if the cops know your name. They pull up. Again? Really? Like, what's the deal? We saw you earlier today. Are you really gonna make us go on a chase again? You think I'm gonna make you go on a chase again, but I'm actually about to go crash into the wet cement and get my car stuck instead, so you're gonna have to call a tow truck. 9 incidents involving erratic driving and screaming out of a bullhorn bullhorn. Listen, I don't usually advocate for anyone getting the license yoinked, but if you have 9 reports of erratic driving and swerving into lanes, and then when the cops are watching you drive into oncoming traffic and then through a construction zone and get your car struck, and then do $40,000 worth of damages, it might be time to at least make you retake the driving test. Hey, maybe not even the driving test. Maybe we just make people retake that written test you do when you get your permit, you know? Do you go on a red light? All right, if you can't answer that question right, I don't really know if you need to keep the license. Seriously, this company's the biggest winner in all of this, and I guess everyone that watched it and wasn't affected. The company's like, hey, sweet, another 40 grand. Obviously, some of that's materials, but the markup on construction is bonkies. So they're about to get themselves a new truck. That's pretty cool. The people probably got the day off, but very unfortunate that this lady decided to try to make the escape. I just don't understand why you would need to go grab the bullhorn to go scream at people on the road. The last thing I want to do is deal with other drivers more. I will say the crazy drivers have risen in the last few years. I don't know if that's me getting older or just people getting crazier, but if this Karen is any indication of what's going on, there's a lot of people driving around that maybe have a bullhorn I can't hear or something. Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I'd appreciate y'all taking a second to press the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. And subscribe if you're new. I post 2 videos a day. That's right, I'm on the grind. Maybe that'll change one day, but for now, whew, we grinding, baby. So subscribe if you like videos like this, because I post them insanely often. And yeah. On that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. Florida woman arrested for stabbing neighbors over leaf blower dispute. I always knew that people were annoyed when their neighbors were doing yard work. Nothing's worse than trying to make a video when the entire neighborhood decides, like, right now is the time to mow their lawn. But I've never been angry enough to even confront someone about it, let alone grab the steak knife and run outside as fast as humanly possible. Like, goodness gracious, even if you're really annoyed with the sound of their gardening or lawn care, it's gonna be over in, like, maximum 45 minutes. Unless your neighbors have a ginormous lawn, at which point you should be far enough away to not have to deal with the noise for very long. I feel like she just has to hate all of her neighbors if this is her reaction to somebody using a leaf blower. A Florida woman was arrested for stabbing 2 of her neighbors with a steak knife over a fight about leaves on the ground, authorities said. Just before 7 p.m. Sunday, police were called to a home on Sadnet Street in Palm Bay after reports that 2 people had been stabbed, according to the City of Palm Bay Police Department. It's always gotta be Florida. Like, what is going on? I'm telling you, there's something in the water. Every time there's a Florida person in a video, I know I make a joke about it. But seriously, I don't go looking for stories from Florida. Like, I just kind of try to find weird news articles. And for whatever reason, the percentage of them that end up being from Florida is at least a solid 65%. There was a fight that led to a stabbing over leaves on the ground. It's just not that deep, bro. Leave me alone. I would not want to be the guy that had to respond to this one. The call comes in. Excuse me, can I get an officer to this street? I have a report of 2 people being stabbed. En route to location, you show up. Okay, what happened? You won't believe it, officer. There I was, blowing some leaves off my property. Next thing I know, this lady comes out of nowhere, starts trying to yeet me, so I'm trying to dip, dodge, duck, and dive like I learned from the movie Dodgeball. And I dodged most of them, but sure enough, she ended up getting a lucky strike in that I wasn't able to dodge. I'm thinking after this experience, I'm gonna start taking karate lessons just to learn a little bit more and get my reaction time up, maybe play some aim training, you know, boost the reaction time. But either way, yeah, my neighbor went psycho and I ended up having to dodge a couple of stabbings. The victims, who are brother and sister, told police their neighbor, 66-year-old Kyung Seal Moulton, had used a steak knife to stab them after a fight ensued when Moulton blew leaves into their yard. Police said one sibling was found with a stab wound to her left leg and the other with a stab wound to his left arm. Okay, so someone got stabbed, and as I said, Kyung denies this. She's like, hey, I don't know what happened. We got into a fight, but I didn't stab anyone. Which, okay, we're gonna roll with that story for a second. They got in a fight with their neighbor, went inside and said, okay, let's just stab each other and then call the cops to get her in as much trouble as humanly possible. If true, the pettiness level is off the charts. Either way, the pettiness level is off the charts. It's just not worth stabbing anyone. But I love how she's like, no. You see, what had happened was they went back to their house and stabbed themselves to get me in trouble. 66 years old and allegedly running after people, stabbing them with with the steak knife. You'd think she would be more worried about getting the social security check than she would be about security checking her neighbors outside. She caught him lacking with the leaf blower. All of this over leaves being blown into the yard, you know? It would really bug me if my neighbor was blowing leaves into my yard. Like, I understand why they had to say something. They probably did not expect the reaction that they got. Oh, hey, can you please not blow all those leaves into my yard? I don't want to have to pick them up because, you know, they're not my leaves and it's kind of rude to just blow them into my yard. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab my knife, pal, allegedly. We'll see how tough you are then. Last time I checked, it's a free country. I can spray my leaves wherever I please. Moulton told police she came home to find her front lawn covered in leaves and assumed her neighbors were responsible, according to an arrest report, so she grabbed her leaf blower and blew the leaves back to the other yard before one of the victims came out of the house. When the man confronted Moulton, his sister came out of the house to intervene before both victims claimed Moulton stabbed them. The 66-year-old denied stabbing anyone with a knife and told the police that the man punched her in the face and the woman slapped her repeatedly. Alright, I understand the denial, okay? This is still all alleged, like I said. That's the way the legal system works in America. But if she didn't stab them, then I'm still not understanding where the stab wounds came from. Like, did they really go back inside and decide to stab themselves to get her in trouble? I just don't want to believe that. For some reason, I don't think that's what happened. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. I'm an idiot on the internet. I could be 1000% wrong. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know why they would do that. While I was running away from her, officer, I ended up running into a rose bush. That's what happened. I thought it would be obvious if you went into the backyard and, like, did a petty move, like blowing leaves back onto your neighbor's yard. Obviously, if it's true that they put them there in the first place, then that's petty too. But if you're gonna go in the backyard and start blowing the leaves back, or the front yard, wherever it was, I think it's obvious that your neighbors are going to come outside and ask you what you're doing and probably confront you about it. I would expect that. Like, if tomorrow I decided to just blow all the crap out of my yard into my neighbor's yard, I would expect him at some point, if he's home, to come outside and be like, hey man, what are you doing? I don't appreciate that. It's a pretty normal human reaction to not like someone blowing a bunch of crap into your yard. Imagine, hey man, why are you blowing that stuff into my yard? I'm going to stab you. That was definitely not the reaction they were expecting. Maybe your neighbor tells you to F off, calls you a naughty name. I don't think you expect them to start going full Kill Bill on you. The siblings' 87-year-old mother was also outside during the fight when the victims told police Moulton pushed her to the ground. Surveillance footage showed Moulton blowing the leaves onto the neighbor's yard before the three family members come out and the argument ensued. Police said Moulton is seen pushing the man first before he pushes back, leading to a struggle. The man tries to distance himself from the 66-year-old woman when she appears to chase him out of view of the camera. The stabbing was not caught on camera, but the 87-year-old was seen falling to the ground a short time later as if she had been pushed, an arrest report shows. Moulton is facing charges of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and battery on a person over 65 years of age. That poor old lady. 87 is not the age that you want to be falling down at. You never know. People that old are fragile. Like, dude, a grandpa could sit down wrong and break his hip, so if it's true that she was shoving 87-year-old women to the ground, it's even worse. Obviously, if it's true she was stabbing people, I think that takes precedent. But they're both bad, okay? We're not gonna try to compare. I think we can say that they both suck. Shoving old people, stabbing your neighbor, both of these are on the list of things you probably should just avoid and never do. Crazy that all of this just happened to happen off camera, though. Like, I don't think that was some evil master plan. I'm just saying, you have security cameras on the house, and the one time something crazy happens where you really need the footage, it happens just off camera. That sucks. Like, that would just be really annoying. Oh man, are you serious? The one time I really need these cameras for something other than checking to see when the Uber Eats driver leaves because I don't want to interact with them, I happen to just run off camera? I don't know. This entire situation is crazy to me. I don't know where the stab wounds came from if she didn't do it. And in her events, you know, apparently the neighbors came out of nowhere and just started attacking her while she was peacefully using the leaf blower. But from what the article just said, it sounds like there was a little bit of an argument and then she started shoving them first. All of this over a pile of leaves. It just doesn't seem that worth it. I mean, obviously the people that got stabbed did not expect that to go down. I don't really think you can put the blame on them. I don't think anyone would have expected it to turn into what it turned into. Even a fight, I thought, would be out of the question. Like, hey, stop doing that. And then they just start shoving you. What is this, elementary school with people just bullying other people to try to get their animal crackers? Give me your animal crackers. No. Just gives you a dead leg. Overall, not the type of neighbor I would want to live next to, even if the stabbing is not what happened, which is what she's alleging. I still wouldn't want someone that's petty enough to be spraying leaves back into my lawn if I didn't do it. Like, you have neighbors on either side of you. How did you know it came from one or the other? That's my question. Like, if someone blew a bunch of crap into my yard, there's a couple people that it could be. I just wouldn't want to do it to somebody back just in case it wasn't them. Oh, I'll show them. I'll spray the leaves back into their yard. The stabbing goes down. The guy who actually blew the leaves into the yard is just standing in his garage like, whew, thank God she picked the wrong house. All right, what's going on? I feel like there's certain things that, you just kind of have to accept might make loud noises when you live near a place. If you live near a hospital, there's a pretty good chance there's going to be a helicopter coming to save somebody's life flying overhead late into the night, and you just kind of got to accept that. Because yes, while we all agree that a helicopter flying overhead at 4 a.m. can be kind of annoying, it's not like it's a joyride over the middle of the town for giggles. Someone's in the ambulance on their way to the hospital, bad enough where they had to be helicopter flighted to the hospital. I feel like that's a horrible time to be complaining. I promise you that person on the helicopter has way bigger problems than being woken up at 4 a.m. Hampshire Air Ambulance branded inconsiderate for 4 a.m. flight. I just can't ever imagine complaining about this seriously, right? Like, it's one thing right when it wakes you up at 4 in the morning to be kind of annoyed, right? Like, oh, that sucks. But then you kind of realize that it's an air ambulance and you kind of get over it. The person that, got upset about this literally took the time to write out a text to the charity to complain about how they're flying the helicopter at 4 a.m. And at what point is that just, too mean, right? You're writing out this complaint about how you hate this charity that does airlifts to the hospital to save people's lives. At a certain point, you just kind of got to look at that text and reread it, and when you go, how dare you be saving someone's life at 4 in the morning, you should realize it's a really stupid thing to be complaining about. Like I said, I'm sure that wakes you up, and for that little bit right when it wakes you up, yeah, I'm sure it's annoying, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend that stuff waking you up at 4 a.m. is super awesome, but it's a different thing to literally take that complaint to the point where you're complaining to the charity that saves people's lives that they shouldn't be doing it, because you're aware of the fact that what they're doing is literally saving lives, right? Basically complaining about the fact that you would rather get your beauty sleep than have someone be alive. And I promise you that your beauty sleep is not more important than someone literally being alive. Hampshire Air Ambulance has received message of support on social media after it was labeled inconsiderate for waking up residents while on a late night shout. The life-saving charity, which is based at Thruxton, received a complaint from a resident following a call out at 4 a.m. on Saturday. So yeah, this is a little bit older, but this is just kind of my thought on this. It doesn't say who did it, but to whatever man, lady that wrote this complaint, just imagine if it was your family member in that ambulance, right? Obviously, if they're getting airlifted to a hospital at 4 in the morning, things aren't going very well. If that was your brother, dude, how would you feel about somebody complaining about the fact that the helicopter was too loud? You would probably want to tell that person to go eat something that is, you tell them to go eat spotted dick. That's a UK thing, right? I just don't necessarily understand how you could complain about an ambulance making noise, dude, because I don't know. I've had a lot of family members spend time in the hospital. Maybe that's why I think about it this way. It's not a very fun place to be, bro. If your family member's in the hospital, it sucks. If you're going to the hospital, it sucks even more. The last thing that they should be worrying about is whether or not they're waking people up underneath them. Because I promise you that person's just got way bigger issues going on, man. You're getting airlifted to the hospital. They don't do that for a broken arm, I don't think they're airlifting people to the hospital because they stubbed their toe. If they're getting to the point where they're medevacing someone, it's a very serious medical issue. And on top of all of that, it's not even it's the hospital. It's a charity. So on top of dookieing on a hospital trying to save somebody's life, you're also pooping on a charity that's wow, this is life-saving work and somebody has to do it. No one's stepping up to the plate, but we will. All around. Why did you have to dunk on them? Like, imagine if this is your dad, dude. Your dad's the person that wrote this text. Imagine the shame you have to feel. If I found out that my dad was like out there following ambulances and blowing air horns at them to like get back at them for having loud sirens, I'd be like, what are you doing, dude? The air ambulance was asked to justify why it was flying so low as it's made a way to Southampton General Hospital, with the person then explaining they would no longer be donating to the charity. Hampshire Air Ambulance issued a response on social media explaining, why did you fly so low? This is when you just draw a diagram for them, right? Because, like, you're already complaining about a helicopter flying at the hospital. We covered that. But they're probably flying low near the hospital because they're trying to land on it, you moron. Like, what? Usually when you're landing on a building, you gotta get kind of close to the building. Do you know what I mean? Like, they can't just plummet 5,000 feet out of the sky onto the building. I feel like that's not very good for the building or the helicopter. Obviously, they have to get lower as they get near the building. I understand that helicopters do have the ability to take off straight up and down, but like, you know, what? Do you expect them to go to the hospital, hover over the hospital, and then slowly come down just so they don't wake you up when it's way easier to already be kind of low? I don't know, man. This entire situation is just silly. This is when you just got to send them a diagram of like, this is the helicopter, this is the helipad. We have to get down from the sky to the helipad. I'm telling you, bro, whoever's parent this is, you better be like, Mom, what are you doing? And then on top of it, to like take away your donations to the charity because of it, you guys flew too low at 4 a.m. So now I will no longer be giving money to this life-saving cause because you guys woke me up. Damn, bro, you really showed them. You taught them an absolutely massive lesson. I'm gonna be honest, this charity probably will stop operating. Who needs to fly helicopters when one person stops donating? It says that it's like $15,000 an hour to operate a helicopter, so I highly doubt that you, in your entire life of donating to this charity, ever paid for a helicopter ride. Like, apparently they're doing this all the time. This charity operates quite often. $15,000 an hour to operate a helicopter a day, whatever it is quite a bit of moolah. Unless you are literally like paying for this charity, you are just not making that big of a difference in the grand scheme of things, especially if you're going to be complaining about it at 4 a.m. And if you are making a big impact, like hypothetically, let's give this person the hugest benefit of the doubt. Let's say they've been donating millions. You're going to take away your millions of dollars from this charity that saves people's lives? Like, you're just going to want to be responsible for everyone that dies because of that? Okay, fine. That's on you then. We always try our best to be there for the people of Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, but messages like this really affects our team's morale. We're sorry our helicopter wakes people up at night, but it is not our intention to disrupt your evening, but rather save someone's life. Can you explain why you decided to fly at 17,050 feet from St. Mary's Hospital at Southampton General Hospital at 4 a.m. over residential properties, waking occupants? Inconsiderate. I think I will no longer be donating to your cause. All right, forget dad, bro. This is someone's grandpa. Someone's grandpa's really snapping out here, bro. How are you gonna call them inconsiderate while also in the same text message getting mad at them for running a charity, bro? Like, the fact the irony didn't smack you upside the globe right there is pretty funny. Like, okay, yeah, they're the inconsiderate ones. The people running a medical charity that airlift people to the hospital are the ones that suck. Not the person complaining about them taking people to the hospital. No. You're the hero of this story. All right, dude, I don't know what it is. I know this for a fact. Airlines have seen a drastic increase in crazy passengers over the last year, dude. And usually it's someone like trying to fight a flight attendant for not giving them more almonds or something. Usually it's not something as bizarre as someone breastfeeding their cat, but I guess in the year 2021 you really can't ever write anything out. Female passenger reportedly breastfeeds cat on Delta flight. You just gotta wonder what everybody around her was thinking, bro. I know for a fact that, like, sitting next to a stranger on an airplane is already kind of awkward, right? Like, it's not already the giant, most great experience of all time. But if I'm sitting next to a stranger on an airplane and they whip out a cat and then start breastfeeding the cat, I feel like that's when I decide that I'm never flying again. You could catch me in the back of a U-Haul in a sleeping bag with a Nintendo DS before I ever catch a flight terrified again if some random person starts breastfeeding an animal next to me. What in the bizarre world is going on here? Why would you ever want to breastfeed a cat in the first place? And two, why did you ever think that was possible? Like, if cats could survive on human milk, I feel like people would have figured this out by now. Like, clearly you're nuts. If you're breastfeeding your cat, I don't care what your excuse is. That's weird. I don't care. Well, it could help. It doesn't matter. You're weird for breastfeeding your cat. But you're extra weird for, like, if you're gonna breastfeed your cat, if you're gonna go out a way to be a weirdo, I can't stop you. It's America. You have the right to be a weirdo. But don't do it on an airplane surrounded by people that can't escape you. Like, if you're gonna breastfeed a cat, you at least have to make sure everyone around you has the option to leave. What are they supposed to do? Jump out the plane, no parachute, DB Cooper style? Most pet owners will go to great lengths to care for their pets, and when it comes to people and pets, the question isn't often what you do for them, but what you wouldn't do. But for one American Airlines passenger, the later didn't seem to include breastfeeding. A screenshot going viral of what looks like a pilot messaging system that suggests a passenger on Delta DL1360 and to Atlanta breastfeeding her cat and refused to stop despite repeated requests from the crew. Oh my goodness, bro. Like, whose grandma is this breastfeeding their cat on the airplane, dude? After repeated requests to stop somehow makes this even funnier than it already was. Like, the lady's already weird for whipping it out and breastfeeding the cat mid-cabin, right? On top of that, they walk over, ma'am, you can't breastfeed your cat on the airplane. You're making people uncomfortable. And they ask multiple times for her to stop, and each time she's like, no, the cat needs to eat. It's got to get its milk, okay? Listen, I think people that get really, really mad about breastfeeding in general, like, it's like there's just not, like, there's way better things to get mad about. You're getting mad about breastfeeding. But yeah, I can understand how everybody on this plane was mad uncomfortable with her breastfeeding a cat, dude. That's just not very normal, right? Unless I'm missing something, bro. I've seen both Tiger King documentaries. Not once did they ever mention that cats can, like, get sustenance from human milk. You think Joe Exotic wouldn't have been trying to cut corners and get human milk to feed his cats if this was possible? I love it, bro. The pilot comes on the intercom. He's like, ma'am, please put the cat down. You are making everybody on this flight feel very weird and like we are all going to be on the receiving end of a PETA commercial. Please stop. No, I refuse. I simply will not stop doing it. Like, I feel like if I was on an airplane and a stewardess asked me to stop doing something, I would be so embarrassed to keep going. I couldn't ever imagine, like, looking at the person in charge of my safety on the plane and being like, you know what? Eat my shorts. I'm gonna keep going. The passenger is in 13A breastfeeding a cat and will not put the cat back in its carrier when requested. The pilot requested Delta's Red Coat ground team to meet the customer after landing and reprimand her. According to an online source, the carrier was contacted to comment whether the incident took place. Dude, could you imagine, like, you have all these security people waiting at the gate, you're in the airport, oh my god, somebody must have gone insane and, like, punched a flight attendant or something, like, what is going on here? The plane lands, they start letting people off, they just haul off this, like, woman with a cat carrier. It's my right to breastfeed this cat wherever I please, I thought this was America, I didn't realize that breastfeeding a cat wasn't in the Constitution. Amendment 47 clearly states that I can breastfeed my cat wherever I please. I don't know, bro. This entire situation is wild. I don't know what working as a flight attendant is supposed to entail. Mostly, like, giving people peanuts, Coke, staying in a different city every night, dealing with Karens all the time. It doesn't seem like a crazy fun job in my opinion. That's why I don't do it. But I respect the hell out of anyone that can deal with this all day and then keep going to that job, bro. Like, if I had to ask a woman to stop breastfeeding her cat and then she, like, got mad at me for being unreasonable, I don't know how I, like, could take that job seriously at that point, right? And they're always so professional, bro. Like, at least in my experience, I've never had a flight attendant just start, like, trying to slap me or anything, but you know they asked her very nicely. Ma'am, can I please ask you to recage the cat and stop providing it nutrients? Like, you know they said it in just some very eloquent, professional way. Like, that's just how flight attendants be doing it. Delta has tightened regulations regarding emotional support animals after the last few years, after experiencing an 84% increase in incidents. However, unlike this case, it's usually the animal acting up. Passengers are still allowed to bring their small dogs and cats into the cabin, but they must stay in the kennel underneath the seat for the entire flight. Alright, man, I'm just glad they're not gonna punish everybody and be like, no more pets on planes, because this very clearly isn't the pet's fault. Alright, like, obviously, it's a different story if the cat gets out of its carrier and goes and, like, attacks the pilot, right? At that point, it's just, maybe no more animals on the plane. You know, I could understand that. There's just no reason to punish everyone that travels with their dog for no problem because this lady decided to start breastfeeding her cat mid-air, dude. What about being 40,000 feet up enticed her to do this? I'm still not too sure. I also love how they're supposed to stay in the cage. Like, that just makes sense, bro. The last thing that a flight needs is a bunch of animals running up and down the middle of the aisle, like, playing with each other. I love my dog a crap ton, right? But, you know, when he's around other dogs, he plays like a dog. That's the last thing I need them doing on a plane is, like, running around chasing each other. Could you imagine the stewardess trying to come down the alley with, like, that big thing of drinks that they usually carry down the alley and, like, some dog just knocks her over? This is wild, bro. I still can't believe that some people are out there breastfeeding their pets, dude. I love my dog. I really do. He's a sweetheart. I spoil him. Not once have I ever been like, you want to try some human milk, pal? Not once. Not ever in a million years would that even cross my mind, because at the end of the day, I know he's a dog, and like, that's just weird, bro. I've heard of insane cat ladies, but if you start literally providing sustenance to them from your body, then it's just a little weird, dude. It's the equivalent of just letting your cats eat your dead body afterwards. That's your plan for the funeral. All 87 of my cats will slowly devour my body until I'm nothing but bone left. Alright, I think we've all heard horror stories about someone going on the dark web and stumbling across a hitman for hire website. But I think we also know that those places tend to be extremely, extremely hard to get to if they exist at all, and chances are it's an urban legend. And you know, if you're just Googling hitman for hire, any website that pops up is 100% fake or a government trap waiting to happen. But I guess some boomers just never picked up the memo that hitmen aren't necessarily real, or at least able to get like Amazon, bro. It's not Amazon Prime Hitman. Michigan woman pleads guilty after trying to have ex-husband killed through fake Rent-a-Hitman website. Dude, like, what in the world is going on here? This lady literally looked up Rent-a-Hitman. It showed up like Toys R Us in the Google catalog, and she thought it was a real thing. You know, I feel like maybe, just maybe, if there is a secret collection of John Wicks out there that's entire job was wiping people off the planet, they wouldn't necessarily want their website to be popping up on the first page of Google. I also love that, like, apparently you can hate someone that much, bro. Trust me, I don't like a lot of people. There's some people that I strongly despise. But not once have I ever, like, actually wanted any harm to come to them or, like, anything really bad to happen. You know how it is. Went over to the old handy-dandy Google and tried to hire a hitman. I feel like, if anything, that says way more about you than the person you're trying to take care of. Like, my goodness, dude. What did this, like, how do you hate somebody that much? I can't really say I blame someone for wanting to be your ex-spouse if, you know, your response to that is trying to hire a hitman, dude. Like, your wife tries to leave you, you hire a hitman. She has every reason to want to leave. If your husband tries to leave and you hire a hitman, you're the nuts one, dude. A Michigan woman could spend up to 9 years in prison for trying to get her ex-husband killed. Wendy Lean Wine, 52, of South Rockford, used a fake website called Rent-a-Hitman to try to solicit the murder of her former husband on July 17, 2020. She used a pseudonym, but entered her real information at the end of her service request. Oh my god, bro. What was the pseudonym? Definitely not Wendy@gmail.com, but you, like, used your real address and phone number? I just love the fact that somebody out there thought Rent-a-Hitman was a real thing, dude. Like, if there's anything more obviously a fake website that doesn't exist, it's Rent-a-Hitman, dude. It's not a U-Haul service, like, you know. Yeah, actually, we're sending one of our people removal specialists, Jeremy, out to your location now. He's bald and has a barcode on the back of your head. He was the basis for the Hitman games. Like, obviously, this is not a thing, dude. It's like, okay, I'm sure it is a thing in some countries, some places, some crazy evil organization out there, but it's not Rent-a-Hitman. And even then, man, like I said, bro, the ex-husband's like, I definitely made the right decision not sticking around because she tried to hire a hitman. We just really have to be grateful that some criminals are just this dumb. Allegedly. Alleged criminals, I should say, okay? Alleged. Because, like, you know, it's not every day. Sometimes people want to make someone disappear and they actually make it happen. But thankfully, most of the time, they're dumb enough to Google Rent-a-Hitman and click on the first link and just try to make that work. I feel like this is one of those websites where the guy brought it to the police force, right? And he's like, I'm going to make this website called Rent-a-Hitman. And then anytime someone wants to rent a hitman, it'll tell us and we'll know about it. And everybody on the police force was like, all right, Gary, but what person in their right mind would be stupid enough to click on Rent-a-Hitman and actually try to rent a hitman? Well, this Monday, Gary walked into the office and he was like, "Guess who's laughing now? Ha ha ha, you guys thought I was stupid." However, the Rent-a-hitman domain was created as a cybersecurity test, and the website's owner contacted the police, who contacted Wine posing as someone from the website. An undercover detective met with them at a cafe where she said she wanted to have her ex murdered and gave the detectives his home address, and work schedule. Dang, she really went to rent-a-hitman.com and then decided to glisten up the details at the local Starbucks. This is the most, like, casual attempt at getting a hitman and wiping someone off the planet that I've ever seen. This lady is cold and callous, dude. If she wanted to talk to the manager, I would genuinely be horrified, because she just treated this like, you know, she was paying an exterminator to come take care of a bee problem. Yeah, alright, I went to Rent-a-hitman and they wanted to meet, so I went to Starbucks, brought him a Frappuccino, and he was like, "Hey, where's your husband work?" So I gave him all the details. Seriously, this was getting planned like it was just a carpet cleaning, dude. This was cold, bro. Rent-a-hitman. You want him, we blob him, or whatever the heck they're saying would be. Who knows? I'm not very good at coming up with slogans for murder, I'm sorry. I also love that this was a cybersecurity test, dude. I guess Gary really is in the office bragging today about how he stopped a murder from happening. I feel like if I was the police in this situation, you know, and this is why I'm not one, I would probably not believe it. Like, if somebody called and was like, "Hey, I have this website where I try to, like, sell hitman services, and somebody tried to buy some," I would be a little bit more curious as to why you have a website selling fake hitman services and maybe think that the person trying to buy it was trolling. Like, the fact that all this went down is funny to me, dude. What guy out there is just casually hosting rentahitman.com in his spare time? She also said she would pay $5,000 for it, and at the second meeting, she gave the detective $200 as a down payment. Damn, Rent-a-hitman is cheap. Wine was charged with solicitation of murder and using a computer to commit a crime. She pleaded guilty to both charges on Friday. Her plea agreement has a cap of 108 months in prison, and she'll be sentenced January 13th, 2022. Dude, $200 as a down payment for a hitman service seems like, once again, man, like, I really hope this is not accurate. I hope these prices are not accurate. I don't know anything about it, but if all it costs is $200 to get this done, that's extremely horrifying. $200 is, once again, bro, like, oh, all right, man, I'll come take care of your lawn twice a month. Like, oh my gosh, a hitman, dude? Obviously, this was not the most well thought out thing in the world, which is why she got caught quickly, and I'm very, very thankful for that, because my goodness gracious, like, You know, the ex-husband has to have been so relieved that she, like, is at least in jail now, right? If she's out there trying to hire hitmen and stuff, like, this is probably the best outcome possible. I just can't believe that some people are out there, like, really rolling around trying to set up hitmen in Starbucks, dude. If you got beef with somebody like that, it's not worth getting them killed, I promise. Imagine what she would do to a manager that refused her coupon, bro. Like, that's what I keep thinking about. She's willing to do this to her ex-husband. Imagine what she was willing to do just to somebody that pissed her off at the grocery store. Allegedly. All right, guys. So now that we've got your attention, we're going to be talking about Karens. It's been a while since I've talked about this here on the channel, but these two just take the cake for being some of the wildest ones I've seen so far. 2 adults throw food at teen worker at Maryland ice cream shop. The ice cream shop's owner said that the customers threw 5 frozen desserts and a tip jar at the 15-year-old. You know, we've seen Karens go crazy, we've seen Karens go ballistic, I've even seen Karens throw stuff before, but, like, being mad enough to throw 5 frozen desserts is, like, really mad. That means you hucked 1 ice cream, went, not enough, and then threw 4 more before you decided that poor, like, 15-year-old minimum wage worker learned their lesson. You know, that's definitely what they learned from that. They're like, anytime someone starts making demands in a restaurant, I said instantly, just do what they want, otherwise they're gonna throw 5 desserts at me. Oh, and in case that wasn't also enough, they threw the tip jar. I wouldn't be surprised to find out they took some money from it beforehand. I mean, I just feel like that's the type of thing that people who throw 5 desserts at somebody do. We're gonna throw ice cream at you, and we're gonna take your tips, and that's gonna teach you a lesson about kindness. A viral video that shows an employee of an ice cream shop having frozen desserts and other items thrown at her has sparked outrage online. Security footage of the incident shows the 15-year-old employee being assaulted by 2 adults. Sharon Gay, the owner of the small Maryland-based chain, told Today that the employees threw 5 desserts and a tip jar at the employee. So I can't show the footage. It keeps getting it, like, you know, demonetized for, like, violence or whatever. So regardless, Yeah, basically, they throw this stuff at this girl, dude, and it's like obviously a little bit of a dodgeball moment, just hurling ice cream. What I don't understand is how you can possibly get this mad while also being at a place that's supposed to be so happy, dude. Like, out of every place you could possibly just be obscenely angry, you're gonna pick the one that just is supposed to, like, give you ice cream. You know, there's some times where, okay, I could understand being a little upset at the service at a 5-star restaurant that you're about to pay 30 grand for, but if you just bought 5 ice creams, obviously it can't be that bad of ice cream or you wouldn't have bought 5 of them. So, like, I just really don't understand how you could get this mad. The fact that it's 2 adults is even funnier to me, dude. Like, obviously we've said stories on this channel before where, like, a mom dressed up as a middle schooler to go fight her daughter's bully. But, you know, that's dumb as hell. But the fact that it was just 2 fully grown people being like, that's it, I've had enough, and throwing ice cream makes it even worse. Gay said that the customers first ordered 3 snowballs, a dessert made with crushed ice, flavored syrup, and marshmallow topping, and asked for extra marshmallow. After receiving the order, they said there was too much marshmallow, so they remade the order. Alright, so they were already being Karens about the amount of marshmallow. Listen, I understand everybody's got their preferences, but in my opinion, there's really no such thing as too much marshmallow if you're ordering a marshmallow dessert. That sounds like the entire point. But whatever, I digress. Even at that point, you know, you're like, I'm so mad that you messed up my marshmallow order. You already sound ridiculous. Say that out loud. I am so mad that you gave me too many marshmallows. But even if it's too much, you go up, you ask them to fix it, they fix it for you. They make you another one. Why does that make you so angry that you have to hurl 5 of them at them? Isn't that what you want? Like, isn't this what every Karen literally hopes that they do, is just cave into them and give them exactly what they want? You need to remake this. Okay, fine. Well, I was expecting you to say no, so you're still gonna get hit with this anyways. That's the type of energy that this gives off. Somebody that's just like, you know, trying to find a reason to just take out all their anger on somebody that just gave them ice cream. The employee remade their snowballs and sends it out there, and they haven't even eaten it, and they tell her these weren't right and she needed to remake them again. She said, I can't remake them. What do you want me to do? I gave you extra marshmallow. I gave you regular, and you're seeing neither is correct. And that's when the snowballs started hurling. Gay said that the employee's mother is planning to press charges against the couple, who were identified by social media users after the business posted the security video on Facebook and asked help in identifying them, and the business also plans to help enact restrictions against the couple to prevent them from visiting again. I feel like people always forget that places have security cameras, and we live in the day and age where, like, they can just post it on Facebook and people will probably say who you were, dude. I don't think many people see a video of you just hurling a bunch of ice cream at somebody who, like, had already just remade your order and go, you know what? That's what America needs more of. People that treat minimum wage employees like garbage. That's exactly what society was missing. Like, obviously people are going to think you're in the wrong on that. I'd love to hear their explanation, dude. I mean, obviously, I feel like these are the type of people that would never admit they're wrong. That's why they're in the situation where they're throwing ice cream at the worker in the first place. But, like, well, you guys just don't understand. The way she said it was really sassy, so that makes it okay. Yeah, you guys don't, she just said it very angrily. Like, if she wouldn't have said it so angrily, then, you know, I might not have decided to, whatever, throw the ice cream at her. But the fact that she sassed me, I can't take that. Like, bro, you just threw ice cream at somebody who just made it for you. Like, imagine this in any other situation. Imagine not liking your pasta, running into the kitchen, and then just throwing your pasta on the chef. I felt sick to my stomach to watch what they did, especially at the end of the video where she puts her hands up and says, why did you do this? I felt the same. Why'd you do this? What I didn't include was the way she held herself together until she left and then she just started crying. Also noted was that the employee and a few other workers cleaned the entire business since everything was coated in marshmallow. Oh, that's even better, dudes. Like, not only did you make this poor worker cry, but on top of that, all the workers had to stay late and clean it because you just covered everything in marshmallow. Even better, dude. You made a bunch of minimum wage workers have to stay longer and clean up because you didn't like how much marshmallow they gave you. You guys don't understand, okay? The marshmallow was not the proper amount. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not taking it back. Like, all right, dude. Okay. If you're not even sorry at this point, I don't know what to tell you, man. While the employee was not available for a comment, she said she was shaken by the incident and left the job shortly. It's her first job and she only worked a couple months. She came back one night and her mom sat in the car the whole night, and she worked last weekend with my granddaughter, but she's not going to work the rest of the season. She's shaken up and her mom's still shaken up. Bro, what a horrible experience at your first job, dude. Out of everything that could happen at your first job, some dude goes crazy, screams at you for messing up too much, and then throws a bunch of stuff at you. I mean, obviously, like, crazy things happen. It's just the reality of working in the world, but that would scare me too if I had just gotten a job. Yeah, it's my 15th day here. This is great. All of a sudden, somebody kicks in the door. They're like, I'm about to mess up your entire life. You're about to never look at working the same way again. Prepare for constant anxiety no matter where you're employed. Like, man, that's gotta absolutely suck. And then, of course, the mom's not necessarily down to come sit there the entire shift, dude. She's got to work her full-time job, come home, and then take her kid to work, sit in the parking lot, just so that way somebody doesn't, get really angry with her. All right, so I think everybody has heard the stereotypes about neighbors, being the angry one that's like, get off my lawn. And I could even understand why you wouldn't want a group of kids, like, playing on your property. That being said, Halloween is the one night a year where you've just got to expect people to walk up and be knocking on your doors, especially kids in costumes, because that's like the whole holiday. But I guess for a woman in Texas, that was just too much. She could not bear to be disturbed on the 31st of October. I'm just hearing about it now, but the headline itself, Texas woman points weapon at 7-year-old for trick-or-treating outside of her home. Dude, you must know that this kid definitely thought this was like a haunted house. You know how some people run the haunted house out of the garage? If somebody answers the door on Halloween when you're trick-or-treating and they've got a weapon, I would assume it was a prop, dude. Like, do you think this kid was scared or just didn't even notice? Seriously, though, at what point are you like, why is everyone knocking on my door? I hate this. They need to leave me alone. And then just like decide to whip out a weapon at the next person that knocks on your door. They don't know what you told the people before them. And correct me if I'm crazy, but I'm pretty sure there's like the age-old trick of turning off your porch light. I don't know if that's true, but like back when I would trick or treat, I feel like we were always told that if somebody didn't have their porch light on, that you shouldn't trick or treat at their house. So like what? Was this lady just unaware that it's Halloween? She just thought a bunch of kids decided to wear costumes and mess with her just to piss her off and walk on her property, dude. How cool is this lady's house where she thinks kids are willing to try to convince her it's fake Halloween just to visit? A 35-year-old in Texas has been arrested for pointing a loaded weapon at a 7-year-old who was trick-or-treating on her street on Halloween. According to the Hays County Sheriff's Office, deputies were called to the 100 block of Corder Avenue in Buda at around 7:20 p.m. on Sunday, October 31st, for reports of aggravated assault with a weapon. When deputies arrived, they learned that a resident in the area was yelling at children who were walking outside of her residence trick-or-treating. I just feel like there were so many things that this lady could have done to have trick-or-treaters not walk up to her house before she had to just point a weapon at a 7-year-old dude. Like, let's just break down a couple options. As we said, you can turn off the porch light. They won't trick-or-treat. You could have left a bowl of candy outside so that way they don't have to knock on their door. You could have put a note on your door saying not to knock, or you could have just ignored it. There's not a law saying that you have to answer the door when a trick-or-treater knocks. I also love how this lady was mad at trick-or-treaters for walking outside of her house. Like, dude, if you live on a street, people have to walk down the street, even if they're not going up to your house. Like, what do you expect people to do when people are using the sidewalk? Just go around your house? You don't own the sidewalk. I hate the fact that people are using the sidewalk on the day every year where people always use the sidewalk. Ugh. Did this person just not ever trick-or-treat as a kid? Like, if anything, dude, you know what? Fine. I don't understand, but maybe some weirdos out there hate Halloween because so many people walk by their house. But you can't just cancel Halloween. Like what? You're gonna manage to cancel a neighborhood holiday for everybody because you don't like people walking in front of your house? I feel like this is the lady that always get TP'd and egged, dude, and you can't even blame them. Like, obviously, you're the person everyone's gonna mess with on Halloween, considering you're also the person that's threatening trick-or-treaters. These damn kids always walking up, knocking on my door, and asking for the tradition. My goodness. Just don't answer. Like, you just didn't really have to answer. Low-key, that's what I did. I didn't feel like answering my door every 12 seconds on Halloween, so I put a bowl of candy out there. And the next morning, the bowl was empty. I don't know if people took one piece at a time. I don't know if they dumped it in. But, I didn't feel like I was under attack all night, and I never felt like threatening a 7-year-old, so I guess that might have been the right choice. The resident reportedly exited her home with a loaded weapon and pointed it at a 7-year-old child who was walking in front of her property, allegedly. Just covering my bases, but I also love how this lady, walked out of her house, right? Gets out there. Once she's outside, okay, let's say, hypothetically, you don't realize it's Halloween. You don't know the date. Once you get outside and you're looking at the sidewalk and you realize that everyone walking is dressed up like a scary creature, wouldn't you then realize it's Halloween and realize it's not a good idea to threaten someone? I'm just saying, if you walk outside, walk to the end of your driveway, and then still decide to get mad at the 7-year-old trick-or-treating, if at no point during that walk you realized it's Halloween when everyone's dressed up, I just think you might need a little bit more situational awareness. I mean, obviously, situational awareness isn't your strong suit if you're, threatening kids trick-or-treating on Halloween. But seriously, dude, how do you walk outside, see a kid dressed up like Buzz Lightyear with a bunch of kids dressed up behind him and go, oh, crap, it's Halloween? I mean, it's just mind-blowing to me that any of this even happened, dude. And then even then, did you think that the parents weren't gonna call the cops on you? You were just gonna come outside, point a weapon at their 7-year-old, and they were just gonna be like, nah, it's cool, you're right, we shouldn't be trick-or-treating on Halloween. It's ridiculous that you would expect people to be knocking on your door the one time a year where it's acceptable to knock on strangers' doors and ask for things. Obviously, they were going to be pissed at you. No one's going to just be okay with you, pointing a weapon at their kid, dude. Especially this poor kid, he's going to hate Halloween forever now. How are you ever going to have a fun Halloween if, the first time you were trick-or-treating and remember it, some crazy lady just started threatening you, dude? Get off my property with your pumpkin pail full of 3 Musketeers. Nobody wants you here. It's what are you even mad at, man? Out of everything that could be a huge threat to your house, it's not like she looked out the peephole and there was some dude that was 6'7" dressed like Michael Myers. It was a 7-year-old, dude. The woman was taken into custody and charged with aggravated assault with a weapon, a second-degree felony, and was then transported to jail, and her bond was set at $10,000 cash. Yeah, who would have thought that that was what would happen if you threaten a 7-year-old with a weapon? They probably arrest you for not being able to do that. I'm just saying. I feel like this is one of those situations, dude, where it's such a stupid thing to do in the first place. It's really hard for me to put myself in their shoes and understand at all. Okay, whatever. Like I said, you're afraid people are knocking on the door, that's fine. But at some point, she looked out the peephole, saw a 7-year-old, and still decided to open the door and get mad. At a certain point, this is still kind of on you to just be aware of the fact that it's Halloween. I feel like, if anything, she probably knew and just didn't care. But, dude, what type of person is just so mad on Halloween that they decide to just go threaten all their neighbors instead of just ignoring it? All in all, I bet you she's wishing that she would have just not answered the door now. This is going to be a lot more trouble for her. I'm going to assume that things are not going to go very well when they go to, the courtroom and the judge asks what happens. She starts trying to explain why it was kind of reasonable for her to have, pulled a weapon on a 7-year-old. The judge just cuts her off. All right, I've heard enough. Seriously, though, obviously, nothing's been to trial yet. This is all alleged. For all we know, the 7-year-old could have said something really mean. I'm kidding. This is why you gotta be careful who you hang out with, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, I thought the story was nuts, so without further ado, let's get into it. And press the like button or no joke, no scam whatsoever. Your Airbnb host is gonna feed you dog food. TikToker claims Airbnb host fed guests spaghetti topped with dog food. Alright, I don't know if this makes me a little bit germophobic, but I have a thing where, I can't eat someone's food if I don't know them. It's nothing personal. Obviously, I can trust restaurants and whatnot, but if I pull up to a potluck and I don't know what your kitchen looks like, I can't eat the food. For the simple reason being, how do you know if this person's kitchen is gross? How do you know if they wash their hands, bro? I'm just saying, it's hard for me to trust just a random person to make me food. My question is, how did they not notice and why did they still eat it? I mean, I don't really know what dog food would look like cooked. I've never opened a can of dog food, plopped it in the pan, heated it up like some Spam and thrown it on a sandwich personally, but I feel like it would be pretty obviously not good quality ground beef. I don't know. I guess I've never really paid that close attention to the ground beef whenever I'm eating spaghetti or anything, but dog food has a very dog foodish smell. smell. Anyone that's ever opened a can of dog food will know what I'm talking about. I just feel like that smell would have been very, very pungent and like easy to avoid. Do you think they just low-key wanted to try it? Okay, yeah, we know this weird dude just cooked us spaghetti with dog food. But come on, you're not the least bit curious what Fido eats, huh? Not at all? Not at all? A TikTok creator by the name of Miss Mystery Jones, who allegedly is a former Airbnb employee, claims that she experienced guests calling in complaints because the host fed them spaghetti topped with dog food. Bro, I just also feel like I mean, I know it's a part of the website. There is something so bizarre about going on vacation with all your homies and then just hanging out while the guy who owns the house is also in the living room. Like, maybe he was just really lonely, you know? He just wanted to rent out a few rooms on Airbnb because then it would force people to hang out with him. It's not like they can tell me to leave my house. And in return for hanging out with him, he just wanted to make him a good meal, popped open the best dog food money could buy. People love this stuff, right? Maybe it's just what he eats for dinner, you know? Like, you know that Extreme Cheapskates episode where that lady is feeding everyone cat food because she says it's cheaper than tuna? Is that this guy's thing? He's just trying to save money by feeding all the homies dog food? Over the last few months, Airbnb users have experienced a variety of issues with their rentals. The issues have varied from one user thinking their Airbnb was recently a crime scene to another being left mortified after finding what they thought were hidden cameras. Miss Mystery Jones shared yet another Airbnb horror story on TikTok where she claims guests were fed dog food on top of their spaghetti. Yeah, I do feel like there's been a lot more stories recently of just absolutely insane Airbnb interactions. Like, I never did used to be paranoid if I got one about checking every room for hidden cameras, but I've just seen way too many videos online now of people walking around the Airbnb finding cameras. And sure, a few of them might be fake, but let's be honest, you can just sign up your house to Airbnb. Somewhere out there, some crazy dude has cameras, so you might as well check. It's not like you want to be secretly filmed. I don't know, Airbnb is definitely going through a pretty rough PR situation right now, especially if people that used to work for them, their NDAs expire and they can just start posting all the crazy stories. Yeah, one time an Airbnb host drove his car through the wall, jumped out in a orange morph suit and screamed, "Oh yeah," like the Kool-Aid man. And when they asked him to leave, he said, "You can't tell me to leave, it's my house." Like, just some absolutely insane, unhinged behavior. The crime scene one is insane too. Like, imagine you pull up to the Airbnb, they still have all the crime scene tape wrapped around the house. You walk in, there's chalk outlines on the ground. You ask the host, you're like, were there bodies there? No. They were playing a really fun game called Trace While You're Sleeping. It was very, very sick. I stayed with them and hung out last night. On June 24th, the TikToker uploaded her now viral video explaining that she used to work for Airbnb and had horror stories to share. Starting off the story, she explained that the customer first called in to complain that the host was living in the same area. You can't do that if it says private. It's a shared space, so we had to call the host and have them change it. Then the guys explained they had a second problem, that she had made spaghetti to welcome them. The only problem is that it tasted really weird, so they checked the garbage and couldn't find any canned ground meat or any packaging for ground meat, but they did find dog food. Oh, it was some Karen instead. Yeah, bro, she's probably like, I've screamed at every manager in the area every time I've hung out with my real friends, so now no one wants to hang out with me. So I'm just going to trick people by listing my house as a private space on Airbnb and then just staying when they get here. I'm gonna be honest, that would just piss me off. Like, at first I thought it was a situation where somebody had purposely signed up to a shared space, and yes, this is still nuts. You never deserve to be fed dog food. But I would be like, yeah, I don't know, man. There's a propensity for people possibly being crazy. The world's getting wild out here. But the fact that they had signed up for a private space and showed up and she's like, I'm just gonna hang out, I would have been pissed. I didn't pay for you to hang out. I paid to have your house to myself. If I wanted to hang out with an old lady on this vacation, I would have invited my mother. I'm trying to get blackout drunk and wake up with nothing on but a pool noodle in the backyard. Oh, I'll make you guys dinner to welcome you. You're like, aw, this sweet old lady going to make us dinner. I bet you it's gonna be so good. It's been so long since I had a home-cooked meal. Huh, that's bizarre. It definitely tastes a little bit different. I'm shocked they started digging through the trash, bro. They probably wanted to make sure it wasn't expired. Their stomach started getting a little bit upset. Do you think when they got to the bottom and there was no ground meat, that's when they started looking around like, well, then what was that? When they find the dog food, is their first thought like, oh, that wasn't that bad for dog food? Or was it like, oh, that explains it? I'm just saying, if they ate all of the spaghetti, then it couldn't have been that bad. I think I would have been able to tell it's dog food personally, but if they scarfed that entire meal down and then found out it's dog food, do you think when they found out they were a little bit surprised it was so tasty? In the comments, the TikToker revealed that the host did have a dog, so it's possible they accidentally used the wrong can of meat without noticing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to call BS on that one, man. Like I said, I have opened cans of dog food. There's no way I would open it, plop out that gross, gelatinous, weird, disgusting food that comes out of that can and go, yeah, that's ground beef. I simply do not believe that this was an accident, you know? Like, I just don't think that could happen unless the person making the food has the eyesight of a literal bat. And in that case, well then maybe, but still, that would feel off. I'm just saying, like, ground beef has a very specific feeling if you've ever cooked with it. Like, if you have to touch it. Dog food, I've never grabbed it and just given it a squeeze, but it definitely doesn't look like it would feel the same. I'm just saying, I feel like there's so many chances to realize that you're using dog food, and the idea that, well, they did have a dog, so it was an accident. I'm not buying it, dude. This, in combination with them listing it as a private space and then staying too, would just show me that something's off. Even if they accidentally use the dog food, I don't want to stay here anymore. The last thing I want to do at an Airbnb is wake up with the host standing over me while I sleep going, you looked so peaceful while you were sleeping. Maybe I can watch longer. Like, clearly this person has a few things they gotta work out with somebody. That's not me, because I was just trying to rent your house, bro. I did not want to have to deal with all this. This is a good plot for a horror movie, though. Like, you're getting a shared space from an Airbnb and the person ends up being a psycho. I bet you that will be a movie in the next, like, 10 years, just because they make horror movies out of literally everything. That's a pretty good premise, though. Everything was normal when we first checked in, but then we realized the host was a vampire. Dun dun. So now we have to spend the next 3 days running around at night because it's a horror movie and we're too dumb to just leave. But still, you know, it'll be an okay movie. Check it out if you want, or don't, whatever. However, she did not mention whether or not they found out the meat was actually dog food. Many viewers took the comments explaining it's possible they didn't have ground meat marked waste, as they may have frozen it in bags after purchase. As the video has received over 800,000 views since it was uploaded, it's clear the fans are interested in the story and whether it can be confirmed or not. Yeah, if you're waiting on this to be 100% confirmed, I got bad news for you. It happened a long time ago. She obviously doesn't work for them anymore. I think they probably have a problem with the customer service reps talking about issues they've experienced if they still worked there. And on top of it, unless they went to the doctor or got a stool sample taken, I don't know how they could really prove it. Like, at this point, it's just a strong inkling. I believe that someone was crazy enough to feed someone dog food. I believe it. Only because we've literally seen on the Extreme Cheapskate show someone feeding somebody cat food without them knowing. I'm not saying she 100% did it, but is it possible? Yes, it's very possible these people got fed dog food. Either way, your Airbnb host just cooking you a meal when they said they weren't going to be there is probably a little bit questionable to begin with. Have a billionaire customer with 4 kids. All of them are pretty spoiled, but the youngest one once said to me spitefully, "We're going on the Tiger next week and you're not allowed to come." Tigero is the name of their yacht in southern Italy. It's not that he's spoiled that gets to me, it's the fact that he knows it and rubs it in. Simple, dude. Next time the kid tries to flex his yacht, just look at him in the eyes and say, "I hope your boat sinks." I guarantee you that'll stop him from ever trying to flex it again, dude. Or just start telling him that there's giant sharks that live off southern Italy that like to specifically eat humans, you know? You just gotta mess with him back. That's how you get in his head. I'm getting quiet now. Laying low when you reach zone, piping down, making out, stack the bread. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video on the Scrubae channel today, double upload special. You guys really enjoyed the one of these I did the other day, reading stories about spoiled people, so I figured I would do it again. And yeah, if you enjoy it, comment the word spoiled down below, or no joke, no scam, your kid's gonna end up a spoiled train wreck. And let's get into it. A girl in my grade broke or lost her phone 6 times in the past year, and her parents replaced it every single time. The last time time she broke it 2 months ago, she complained because she got an iPhone 6S instead of the new one. Well, they probably had to give you an iPhone 6S because A, you're gonna break it anyways, and B, they probably had bought every new iPhone in the tri-state area, bro. Dr. Doofenshmirtz himself couldn't get his hand on that many technology chips in 2022. I was a camp counselor for a while and had a granddaughter of the man who owns Torquay Coffee 1 week. I don't know how materially spoiled she was, but I was baffled that the kid could not understand that having a rich grandpa doesn't entitle her to get to use the only working tetherball alone, because she demanded it. I had to have a 10-minute conversation with her during playground time about how at camp everyone's equals, and thankfully she was fine the rest of the week. Alright, no hate to the kid because they got over it, but imagine being the other kids in this situation. You're like, I want to turn it tetherball. Listen here, Jeremy, your grandpa's a poor, destitute loser. When he's got some bands in his bank account, then you can touch the tetherball, all right, pal? Going to high school with the son of the owner of a large TV company. He thought he should be able to sit alone in the classroom surrounded by unfilled desks. I had the privilege of sitting in front of him and was constantly harassed with attacks from his ruler and pens if he thought I was even remotely leaning back. Dude, I just don't understand why people think money entitles them to like smack people with rulers. You know, sure, money technically gets you a cool house, maybe a cool car, but like I don't think anyone's bank account just justifies you to be running around with lightsabers acting like you're Luke Skywalker slapping stormtroopers, okay? Calm down. It was a kid in my high school. When he was 14, he had a learner's permit, but his parents got him a Mercedes-Benz G-Class. Every day, he drove it to school and was determined to park it in the parking lot but show it off. However, he only had a learner's permit. So he had his housekeeper drive to school with him, and her son drove a car behind her to take her back home, which was only about 2 miles away from the school. Even if you're in a G-Wagon, bro, I feel like this is more embarrassing than it is a flex. Sure, there's a $100,000 car in, like, the parking lot that's yours. That being said, dude, your, like, nanny drops you off, your housekeeper drops you off and then goes back home for you to park there. I feel like everybody at this school should be making fun of this, and if they're not, dude, he literally has his housekeeper drive him to school because he wants it parked in the parking lot so bad. Having a housekeeper is already pretty spoiled, you know, making them drive you around like a chauffeur, next level. I know a couple who couldn't have children. They finally got approved for adoption when they were older and got their first kid in their mid to late 50s. They were just so happy with having a kid that they spoiled him rotten. Anything he wanted, they gave him. He grew up demanding things and throwing tantrums, and they let him eat what he wanted so he ballooned in size. Eventually, he dropped out of school because he didn't want to go, and his parents were fine with this until the state told him they weren't allowed to, so they got his butt back into school where he failed miserably because he didn't care. He was eating away at all of their savings, and he would randomly pick up new hobbies and needed top-of-the-line things for each one, which he would give up after a few months. And his parents received an inheritance, and he ended up blowing through that entire amount within a couple of months, spending it on stupid stuff. Eventually, his mom passed, and his elderly dad is having to work 2 full-time jobs, while his son in his 20s does nothing all day except drive around in his car, live streaming himself talking while driving. And he's already had 2 accidents from filming himself while driving. His extended family tried to have a family meeting with the dad, telling him he's got to put his foot down because his son's going to kill someone. And when the dad finally had attack with the son attacked him and knocked him down the stairs. He didn't want to press charges after he got well again, and he went back to working his 2 jobs and became an alcoholic during non-work hours, letting his son run all over him because he's terrified of saying no. And the worst part is, the dad spent his entire retirement fund on the kids, so he's gonna have to work until he dies because he has a parasitic son who refuses to do anything except spend, spend, spend. Normally, these are a little bit funny, dude. This one just made me sad. Imagine draining your, like, 70-year-old dad's retirement account because you refuse to get a job while you're live streaming yourself crashing cars multiple times. Live streaming 1 accident is already embarrassing enough. If you don't learn your lesson after 1 and go back for round 2, you might just be too dumb to have a license. You might want to take that back away. And you'll save a crap ton on car insurance, too. I knew a rich kid whose parents bought a car for him and he treated it like garbage, purposely driving it really hard and generally abusing it, confident in the notion that his parents would buy him the one he wanted after he destroyed the one they got him. Well, they didn't buy him another one, ever. He rode the city bus and bummed rides off of his friends after that, and he was the most entitled person I'd ever met. If he was over at your house, he would just help himself to whatever was in the fridge like it was some sort of paid buffet. I just love this logic. All right, my parents bought me a car. It's not a very nice car. All right, don't take this the wrong way, bro, but if they buy you a car, they're already being way nicer. And if they bought you a car that's not nice, it probably means that they can't afford to buy you a Mercedes. So why would you destroy the car you got for free? I just don't understand, dude. A free car is a free car, even if you personally don't like it. There's this magical thing called go get a job and buy it yourself then, dude. It's incredible. Wow, my goodness. I saw Justin Bieber throwing a fit and end up not getting what he wanted. We have a quarterly team building exercise at my company where you basically go and play mini golf or some other activity capped at $25 a person. Sometime between 2009 and 2011, I really can't remember exactly, my group just decided to go for a fancy lunch in downtown Portland. After lunch, we took one of our coworkers to the semi-famous Nike store, which was a couple blocks away, and that was the day Justin Bieber happened to show up. When he and his entourage arrived, he said something loudly along the lines of, y'all are gonna have to leave for a bit because I'm here to do some shopping. And some of his people acted like they were going to try to politely force the already present customers out of the store so he could shop alone. But the Nike employees even more politely told him it's not possible, and at one point he lost it. I mean, threw a total temper tantrum because they wouldn't shut down the store for him. The tantrum didn't work, but he and his folks left in a huff. That's really my only celebrity in the wild encounter, and it's freaking lame. Okay, so Justin Bieber really doesn't go wild like this anymore, but does anyone else remember that period where he was just like a menace for a couple months? Just like speeding in his Ferrari down the neighborhood, you know, apparently getting really mad at Nike stores. He chilled out after that, but like honestly, dude, the idea of angry Justin Bieber before he was growing up, like, dude, get out of the Nike store, dude, I made baby, do you have any idea who I am, bro? Kinda brings a smile to my face. Saw a college guy with a ridiculously expensive car rear-end a woman who drove a beater. Her car was totaled and his wasn't looking that hot either. Then he got out and started screaming at this woman. She was in tears and he kept telling her that she was gonna pay for this. And when the cops came, I saw each of them give their statement, and after that, me and 10 people came forward and gave our witness statements. It sounded like each and every one of us put complete fault on him, which was the truth. And when the cops went back to him, I saw his face just sink. He probably told them it was her fault and just found out that 2 handfuls of people just confirmed that he's full of it. I've never ever seen that many witnesses stick around for a simple traffic accident, and I think the other people felt the same way I did. The kid was a douche and needed to be punished for what he did. There's like being a jerk, you know, and acting all entitled because your dad's rich, and then there's trying to blame an accident in which you're at fault on somebody else who's clearly in a worse situation, bro. The rules are if you rear-end somebody, it's your fault. Even if they slammed on the brakes, it just kinda is what it is. The fact that you're hopping out the car screaming at her, making her cry because you rear-ended her just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. One of my college roommates was very rich growing up, and I didn't realize just how rich until I had to explain to her what a coupon was in very extensive detail. On multiple occasions, she bragged that she wasn't even interested in her major or college in general, but she was at uni because her parents were requiring her to get a degree, any degree, in order to get her trust fund. I don't remember ever seeing her go to class, and she eventually got expelled sophomore year over academic dishonesty. I guess this was the last straw for her parents because they cut her off soon after that. It actually did end up being a wake-up call, and she somehow managed to get a public health degree at a different school in spite of the academic dishonesty listed on her transcript. She's doing pretty well for herself these days, and we've kept in touch, and last we talked she was considering grad school. Kudos to them for getting their crap together, but that being said, dude, imagine somebody not understanding a coupon. So this slip, this magical paper, I hand it to the cash registrar, and it gives me discount? My goodness, why does not everyone use these coupons when shopping? You know when Thor has the cup of coffee and then like throws it on the ground and destroys it? That's this lady's reaction to a coupon. She just pulls out a flamethrower and starts to burn them all when she's done. Local business owner puts son through college and more. And when the kid graduates with multiple degrees, dad decides to retire and turn the business over to his son. The son brings all of his college homies on board, has management wear all white cowboy hats and drive white pickups, and begins revamping the business. Dad comes out of retirement pronto, gets rid of his son and his friends, and years later ends up bankrolling the son's run for state representative. The son lost, the dad died, and left his business to his daughter. I love the idea of this dude. This kid got multiple degrees from multiple schools. You know, you think that would come with maybe a modicum of knowledge about how to run a business. He gets in charge of it all and he's like, all right, here's how we boost sales. We all wear cowboy hats and drive matching trucks. What is going on here, dude? This sounds like something an NFL team would do during playoffs to like get more bonded so that way they can go to the Super Bowl, not a way you sell more of whatever it was. I love the dad giving the business to the daughter too, bro. Maybe that should have been the plan from day one. The second your son was like, we can sell more with cowboy hats, it should have been done. Imagine being the guy that like actually got suckered into buying from him. Well, I wouldn't have spent all this money, but your hat matches your truck, so I'll get the checkbook. Here's a switch. Highly successful local doctor and politician expected his son to attend medical school and become a doctor. The son opted out and got a job with a new company called Costco pumping gas. He'd been with the company ever since, just as regular pay raises and bonus checks give him a good life, and he just didn't want the high stress that him and his dad had. Honestly, good for this dude, bro. Oh, that looks super stressful. No thanks, I'm just gonna go have a good life and enjoy it. Nothing wrong with that, dude. This should be a goal of more people, to just enjoy life and not be stressing the entire time. I know a guy who purchased a second car. His first car is a Mustang, his second is an Audi. He's a single father and his payment arrangement is $400 per month and he didn't try to talk it down. The car is 10 years old and his other car isn't paid off. He works on my team in the same position I have and my wife together can barely afford a $250 per month car payment. He hasn't learned to drive a stick and it's been 3 years. He's been doing all of this and struggling for 3 years for a lawn ornament. You gotta have loaded parents if you're just buying a car that you don't even know how to drive to park in the driveway. You know, it looks really pretty, but you can't drive it. Okay, and it's not like I'm the one paying for it. Mom and dad got this entire thing covered. It's a pretty sweet system. Get rich parents. I work as a freelance musician and often stand in for wedding bands, and I've worked a lot of weddings where clearly the families have crazy money. One thing I always see at the fancier events without fail is a ton of amazing, fully prepared food and expensive drinks being tipped or thrown away at the end of the night. When I asked about it once, I was told by one of the staff that a lot of catering companies are trained to prepare to have enough of every menu option so that if everyone orders the same thing, they have enough. What happens in reality is they tip away enough food to feed the wedding party or, you know, everyone else involved 2 times over and throw it away. Particularly annoying when the band are served cold chips as their evening meal because we couldn't stretch the budget. Sorry. On a more positive note, one of the funniest things I've ever seen was a drummer successfully sneak out of a catering tent having liberated a whole wheel of cheese that night. Imagine being so loaded that you're like, no, just make enough food so that if everyone orders the same thing, we still got enough. I know we're gonna waste a lot of it, but whatever, I'll just pay for it. It seems like a waste, dude. I don't care what anyone says. Spending like 80 grand on one night is just dumb. I don't get it. I don't understand. Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you like these type of videos, go ahead and comment down below. It helps the video do better, and I would very much appreciate it. And of course, like, comment, subscribe, please. Banned for life. U.S. tourist throws scooters down Rome's Spanish steps, causing $26,000 in damage. I'm gonna assume that they mean like the moped Vespa scooters that they drive around over there. I'm gonna hope it's not like a scooter that kids be riding around at the skate park. Can you imagine? Yo, I'm gonna tail whip this 25 set of stairs. Next thing you know, it somehow causes $25,000 worth of damages. Hey, if it has the same amount of damage as a Razor scooter to the ankles, it could do that. I don't know why you would even still be on your little like moped thing if you're near a bunch of stairs. Maybe they were lost or something, but I feel like if it's a big tourist attraction, you've got to know it's close and maybe, just maybe, don't be on the moped by the stairs. Because, I mean, let's think about it. Hypothetically, pretend that these same scooters were super popular at the Grand Canyon. Probably wouldn't be a great idea to be going as fast as possible when you think you're getting close to the edge. You know what I'm saying? It's just not a brilliant idea. In latest news, a U.S. tourist who threw an electric scooter down Rome's Spanish Steps has been banned for life from the site. A visit to Rome's historic Spanish Step ended with a fine and lifelong ban for this particular traveler. The woman, a 28-year-old U.S.-American traveler, allegedly threw the scooter down the iconic steps, and the incident occurred in the Italian's historic capital, was caught on video. So in the article, the video is no longer there. I don't know if there's like another version of it. I didn't go searching for it. just wasn't in the article. But if this was for some reason done for like a TikTok or something, that makes it even dumber. I don't know why there's a bunch of recordings of it, probably because they're just famous steps, so tourists are always recording it. But goodness gracious, can you imagine if all of this was done for like some TikTok clout? I don't understand why you would want to launch a scooter downstairs in the first place. Even if it wasn't like a very important historical monument, what do you gain by throwing your moped down 25 stairs other than breaking the moped? If you're from America, I don't think you flew over with it. You're just gonna owe the rental company a crap ton of money. You go to return it, they're like, what happened to it? Why is it in 3 pieces? Oh, you know those steps that all those people are always lining up to take pictures of? They're like, yeah? I tried to jump down it to impress everybody there, and it just didn't really work. I'm gonna hope it was an accident, you know, like, seriously, I don't know how that accident would even happen. I don't know how you lose control of the moped and end up sending it down the stairs, but somehow I hope it happened, because, you know, this definitely doesn't make the Americans look too hot. Oh yeah, those American tourists, and they're sending mopeds down the iconic historical monuments. I promise we're all not like that. Most of us would use monster trucks instead. The real American way. A passerby captured the incident, showing the moment the tourist let the scooter go down the Spanish steps. Shortly after the U.S. tourist throws scooter down the Rome Spanish steps, the police catch up with the woman and her companion. After reviewing the footage, the police fined the U.S. tourists $400 each. And The Guardian reports that the incident took place in the early hours of Friday. Reportedly, the e-scooter caused significant damage to the steps when the tourists threw it down there. 25,000 euros worth to be exact. The tourists are permanently banned from returning to the UNESCO site. This is so dumb. So they came up with the idea to throw the scooter down the stairs and then just thought, what, they were gonna calmly walk away and no one was gonna do anything about it? It's a UNESCO site. I'm assuming that there's tourists everywhere. Somebody was gonna look at you and go, oh, those are the people that threw it down the stairs. Did you think the police weren't gonna come after you at all, even though everyone was pointing at you and saying they did it? Nah, it's cool. We love having to make 25,000 euro repairs to our old heritage sites. It's not like every time they repair it, a little bit of the historicalness of it is taken away. I mean, if there's like chunks out of the stairs that they have to fill in and fix. It's just not the way that it was. These places are already old enough without having e-scooters thrown down them all the time. I'm not for like giant tickets under normal circumstances. I don't think there should ever be a circumstance where you get like a $25,000 speeding ticket. That being said, in this situation, I'm surprised that it was only a $400 ticket. Like, really think about it. They, and just the sheer stupidity of it all, somehow lose the e-scooter down the stairs of a World Heritage site. It causes a crap ton of damage. I don't know exactly the extent of it, but that's a pretty big number to say that the repair is going to cost. And you only find them like what? Let me do some math here. 400 each, 800. That's like 3% of the total cost of the repairs. It just doesn't really make sense mathematically. You're basically encouraging people to go be as stupid as humanly possible at that point. Oh no, it's cool. We'll just have to pay 3% of the repairs. It's all fun and games till you mess up the Lamborghini dealership and the 3% still comes out to like 8.7 million. I love their very well thought out escape plan of just walking away. You know, because it's not like the cops will come catch us. The incident has sparked mass outrage online because the UNESCO World Heritage Site has already gone a 1.5 million euro restoration in 2015, and as of 2018, the government made it illegal to even sit on the famous steps. It's not the first incident to cause damage in Italy's precious historic sites. Only a week earlier, a Mexican brother and sister duo crashed a drone into the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Pizza. I feel like crashing a drone into a tower is still dumb, but it's a lot more understandable than throwing a scooter down the stairs. Like, alright, obviously you should try to avoid crashing your drone into historical sites, but you're trying to get like a really cool video or something, you lose control of it, it crashes into the tower. Not great, you're probably gonna get in trouble, but I could understand how that happens. Whereas there's a whole lot of thought and chances to be like, I'm making a mistake before you throw your scooter down the stairs. I'm sure the people crashing the drone, that was not their intention until like the very last 2 seconds of flying it. That wasn't their intention from the start, whereas this person was like, LMAO, I'm gonna throw my scooter down the stairs. And of course, it has to have just undergone like a massive repair. I'm gonna assume if they don't want people even sitting on the steps that they consider them pretty fragile and important to preserve, because I don't know what people sitting on the steps could really do. Obviously, over time at a tourist attraction, you're talking about like millions and millions of butts. But, you know, if they're not going to allow sitting on the stairs, they definitely don't want to have scooters being thrown down them. This just seems like a case of someone doing something dumb to like impress their friend, try to get a viral video, I don't know, generally like act cool without really thinking any of it through. And I'm not surprised that people are going to be outraged about it. I mean, let's be honest, if somebody came to something that was really important in your city and just like threw something at it and broke it and caused a bunch of damage, you'd probably be pretty annoyed at it too. Overall, little piece of advice, just don't break things when you're traveling or even when you're not traveling in general. Just avoid breaking things, especially if you don't own it, and especially if it's a historical monument that has like significance. Just avoid causing damages to it, you know. Little bit of life advice for all you people out there from my brilliant brain. I thought it was pretty obvious, but I guess not. Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I'd appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. And subscribe if you're new. I try to post videos like this twice a day, so if you enjoy like funny, stupid news, subscribe and turn on those notifications. And yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.